Savage Devotion. A dark romance novel. Prologue. The blood on my wedding dress isn't mine. That's the only thought I can hold on to as I stand in the cathedral's anteroom, staring at my reflection in the gilt-edged mirror. The crimson spatters across white silk look almost artistic in the dim light filtering through stained glass windows, like rose petals scattered by an overeager flower girl. Except rose petals don't smell like copper and fear. My hands shake as I try to blot the stains with a dampened cloth, but I only manage to spread them further. The dress cost more than my father earned in a year before he made his deal with the devil, before he sold me to save himself. Miss Sinclair. The voice comes from behind the heavy oak door, male and unfamiliar. It's time. Time. As if this were a normal wedding. As if I were a normal bride about to marry a normal man who'd courted me with flowers and poetry instead of threats and ultimatums. I drop the cloth into the porcelain basin, watching pink-tinged water swirl down the drain. My reflection looks back at me, a stranger wearing my face. Someone did my makeup this morning. Professional, expensive, designed to make me look like I belonged in this world of marble floors and armed guards stationed at every exit. Dark eyes that used to sparkle with dreams now stare back hollow and resigned. My black hair has been arranged in an elaborate updo that probably took hours, though I remember none of it. I'd dissociated somewhere around the second security check. The door opens without my permission. A man in a black suit enters. Young, maybe 30, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow. He doesn't look at the blood on my dress. Doesn't even blink. Mr. Constantine is waiting, he says, as if informing me of an appointment I'd voluntarily made. Constantine. Alexei Constantine. The name that makes seasoned criminals lower their voices. The man who controls half of Chicago's underworld from the shadows, so powerful that police commissioners take his calls and judges rule in his favor. The man I'm about to marry. I need a moment. My voice sounds foreign to my own ears. Thin, papery, nothing like the confident tone I'd cultivated through 4 years of art history at Northwestern. Back when I'd had a future that belonged to me. You've had 6 weeks. The guard's expression doesn't change. Not cruel, just factual. As if he's commenting on the weather rather than my complete loss of autonomy. The ceremony starts in 5 minutes, with or without you. The implicit threat hangs in the air between us. My father sits in the front pew, alive only because I'd agreed to this arrangement. My younger brother Thomas is at university in California, safe because I'd signed my name on a contract written in someone else's blood. They'd made the stakes very clear 6 weeks ago, when Constantine's men had walked into our family home and laid out my father's gambling debts like evidence at a crime scene. $3 million. That's what my father owed to the Bratva, the Russian mafia that operates in Chicago's shadows. $3 million he'd borrowed to keep his failing real estate business afloat, then lost in a series of spectacularly bad decisions involving underground poker games and false confidence. Constantine had offered a solution. Marry his nephew, become part of the family, and the debt disappears. My father lives. Thomas finishes school. Everyone wins. Except me. Fine. I smooth down the front of my dress, fingers catching on dried blood. Let's get this over with. The guard leads me through corridors I don't recognize. The cathedral is enormous, Gothic, all soaring ceilings and religious iconography that feels wrong for what's essentially a business transaction. My heels click against marble floors with the rhythm of a countdown. Each step brings me closer to a life I never chose. We pause outside the main doors. Through the crack between them, I glimpse the assembled guests. Mostly men in expensive suits, faces I don't recognize, expressions ranging from curious to calculating. My family occupies 3 pews on the left. My father, looking 20 years older than his 56 years. My Aunt Margaret, crying into a handkerchief. A handful of cousins who'd come out of obligation rather than support. On the right side, Constantine's people fill every available seat. More men in dark suits, a few women dripping in jewelry that probably cost more than my childhood home. And at the front, facing the altar with his back to me, stands the man himself. Dominic Russo. Not Constantine's nephew. Constantine doesn't have a nephew. I'd learned the truth 3 days ago from a housekeeper who'd taken pity on me during one of the preparation sessions at Constantine's estate. Dominic Russo is Constantine's enforcer, his right hand, the man who handles problems that need to disappear permanently. He's 32, born in Moscow, raised in violence, and absolutely loyal to Constantine, and apparently he needs a wife. The reasons remained unclear. Constantine's organization is old-school Bratva, which means appearances matter. Maybe Dominic needs legitimacy. Maybe there's some internal politics I don't understand. Maybe it doesn't matter at all. What matters is that in 5 minutes I'll be bound to him legally, financially, in every way that counts in both legitimate society and the criminal underworld. The organ begins to play. Wagner's bridal chorus. Because even forced marriages apparently require tradition. Miss Sinclair. The guard offers his arm, and I realize with dull horror that he's meant to walk me down the aisle. No father to give me away. My father sits in the congregation, barely able to meet my eyes. This guard, whose name I don't even know, will deliver me to my fate. I take his arm because I have no other choice. The doors swing open, and every head turns to watch me walk toward my destruction. The cathedral stretches before me like a tunnel, pews on either side creating a gauntlet I must pass through. Faces blur together, all strangers or near strangers. No one who'd actually help if I turned and ran. Not that I could run. The guards positioned at every exit make that abundantly clear. Dominic Russo stands at the altar, and this is the first time I've seen him in person rather than in photographs. He's taller than I expected. 6'3" at least, broad-shouldered in a way that suggests real strength rather than gym-manufactured muscle. His suit is impeccable, charcoal gray that probably costs more than a semester's tuition, tailored to fit perfectly. Dark hair, cut short and neat. A face that would be handsome if it weren't so completely devoid of emotion. He watches me approach with the focus of a predator tracking prey. Not hungry, not cruel, just absolutely present. His eyes are slate gray, cold as a winter morning, and when they meet mine, I feel the impact like a physical blow. This is the man I'm about to marry. This is the man who'll have legal rights to me, to my body, to every aspect of my life. My feet want to stop moving, want to turn and run despite the impossibility. But the guard's hand on my arm is gentle and completely inflexible, keeping me moving forward at a measured pace. We reach the altar. The guard transfers my hand to Dominic's, and the shock of skin-to-skin contact makes my breath catch. His hand is warm, calloused, large enough to completely engulf mine. He holds it carefully, as if I might break. The priest begins speaking in Russian first, then English, words I should probably listen to but can't quite process. Something about sacred unions and lifelong commitments, vows we're both supposed to mean. When it's time for my part, I hear myself speak as if from a great distance. I do, 2 words that seal my fate. Dominic's response comes in a voice like gravel and silk. Deep, accented, absolutely certain. I do. The priest pronounces us married. Dominic lifts my veil with steady hands, and for a moment we just look at each other. I search his face for something, any hint of what happens next. Cruelty, kindness, indifference. I find nothing. Just that same predatory focus, like he's committing every detail of my face to memory. Then he leans down and kisses me. It's not romantic, not gentle. His mouth covers mine with absolute possession, claiming me in front of everyone assembled. His hand comes up to cup the back of my head, holding me in place, and I taste whiskey and something darker. The kiss goes on long enough that I hear someone in the congregation cough awkwardly. When he pulls back, his thumb traces my lower lip, and he murmurs something in Russian I don't understand. Applause ripples through the cathedral. Polite, obligatory, the sound of a business transaction successfully completed. Dominic keeps hold of my hand as we turn to face the assembled guests. His grip is firm, inescapable. We walk back down the aisle together, past faces that watch us with varying degrees of interest. My father won't meet my eyes. My aunt is still crying. Outside, a black car waits. Not a limousine, something more subtle. An SUV with windows tinted so dark I can't see inside. Dominic opens the door, waits for me to climb in. I hesitate on the threshold between my old life and whatever comes next. In, he says. Not cruel, not kind, just absolute. I get in. He slides in beside me, and the door closes with the finality of a cell door slamming shut. The driver pulls away from the cathedral before I've even fastened my seatbelt, and I watch through the tinted window as the building disappears behind us. You're bleeding, Dominic says. I look down at my dress, at the blood that started this nightmare. It's not mine. I know. He produces a handkerchief from his jacket pocket, pristine white linen, and holds it out. This morning, the guard who was supposed to escort you tried to run. He won't run again. The casual mention of violence, of death, delivered like he's commenting on traffic. I take the handkerchief with numb fingers, but I don't know what to do with it. Can't bring myself to touch the blood again. Dominic watches me for a moment, then takes the cloth back. With surprising gentleness, he begins wiping the blood from my hands. His touch is careful, methodical, treating me like something fragile that might shatter. Listen carefully, he says, voice low enough that the driver can't hear. I'm going to tell you this once, and I need you to believe me. I force myself to meet his eyes. Up close, they're not completely cold. There's something underneath, carefully controlled but present. I didn't ask for this arrangement, he continues. Constantine made the match. I follow Constantine's orders, but that doesn't mean I plan to make you suffer unnecessarily. How comforting, I hear myself say, and immediately regret it. You don't mock men like Dominic Russo. You don't antagonize people who've killed for far less than disrespect. But he doesn't get angry. His expression doesn't even flicker. You have spirit. Good. You'll need it. He finishes cleaning my hands, tucks the blood-stained handkerchief back into his pocket. Then he reaches into another pocket and produces a small box. Your ring, he says, opening it. The diamond is enormous. Easily 3 carats, set in platinum, surrounded by smaller stones that catch the light like trapped stars. It's the kind of ring that makes statements about wealth and ownership. Dominic takes my left hand, slides the ring onto my finger. It fits perfectly. Of course it does. Someone had measured me, sized me, prepared everything without my knowledge. We're going to the estate, he says as the city slides past outside. Constantine is hosting a reception. You'll smile, accept congratulations, play the role of happy bride. After tonight, things will be different. But tonight, we perform. And if I don't want to perform? The question escapes before I can stop it. Dominic turns to face me fully, and the weight of his attention is almost physical. Then your father's debt becomes active again. Your brother loses his scholarship. And you discover what happens when my patience runs out. Not a threat, a promise. I swallow hard, nod once. I understand. Good. He settles back in his seat, pulls out his phone, begins typing with one hand while the other rests on the seat between us, close enough to my leg that I can feel the heat of him through my dress. I stare out the window, watching Chicago blur past, and try not to think about the blood on my wedding dress. Try not to imagine the man who'd bled it. Try not to calculate how many more people might bleed before this arrangement runs its course. The ring on my finger catches the light. Heavy, cold, a physical reminder that I'm no longer Vera Sinclair, art history student with dreams of curating in New York. I'm Vera Russo now, property of a man I don't know, bound to a world I don't understand, and there's absolutely no way out. The car turns onto Lakeshore Drive, heading north toward whatever estate Constantine has prepared for us. For me, my prison disguised as a mansion. Dominic makes another call, speaking rapid Russian to someone on the other end. I don't understand the words, but I understand the tone. Business. Always business. I touch the ring, feel its weight, its reality. In the photographs I'd seen, Dominic Russo had looked dangerous, cold, controlled. In person, he's all that, and something more. Something that makes my pulse quicken for reasons I don't want to examine. The blood on my dress has dried now, stiff against my skin. Evidence of violence I'd witnessed but didn't cause. A preview of what my life will be. Dominic ends his call, pockets the phone, and looks at me with those slate-gray eyes. "Any questions?" he asks. I have 1,000 questions. What happens tonight? What does he expect from me? How long do I have to endure this arrangement? Can I ever escape? But I only ask one. Whose blood is this? Someone who thought he could run. Dominic's expression doesn't change. No one runs from Constantine. No one runs from me. Remember that. The car pulls through gates that close behind us with mechanical precision. And ahead, I see the estate sprawling across manicured grounds. Mansion doesn't do it justice. It's a compound, modern and imposing, all glass and steel and angles designed to intimidate. My new home, my prison. Dominic helps me out of the car with careful courtesy, and I stand on the circular drive, blood-stained and bewildered, while servants I don't recognize begin unloading luggage I don't remember packing. The front doors open. Alexei Constantine himself emerges, silver-haired and distinguished in his 60s, with the kind of presence that makes people instinctively step back. He built an empire on violence and fear, and it shows in the way he moves, the way everyone around him reacts. "Ah, the bride." He speaks English with a thick accent, but his meaning is perfectly clear. "Welcome to the family, Vera Dmitrievna." The patronymic catches me off guard. I'm not Russian. I have no father named Dmitri. But in this world, apparently I do now. They've given me a new name, a new identity, a new history. I'm being rewritten to fit their narrative. Dominic's hand finds the small of my back, guiding me forward. "Say thank you," he murmurs, voice low enough that only I hear. "Thank you," I manage, the words sticking in my throat. Constantine smiles, and it doesn't reach his eyes. "Come." Everyone is waiting to meet the woman who finally tamed my Dominic. Tamed, as if I had any choice, as if this were romance instead of transaction. But I smile back, let Dominic guide me inside, and prepare to play my role. The blood on my dress will come out eventually. The stain on my soul might not, but that's tomorrow's problem. Tonight I'm Mrs. Russo, and there's absolutely no going back. Chapter 1. The Performance. The estate's ballroom could swallow my childhood home 3 times over, and still have room for the pool house. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across marble floors so polished I can see my reflection walking beside Dominic. A reflection that looks like someone else entirely. Someone who belongs here among the wealth and danger. I don't belong here, but no one needs to know that. Dominic's hand remains at the small of my back, a brand of possession that everyone in the room can see. His touch is light, almost gentle, but the message is unmistakable. Mine. Property. Claimed. We enter together, and conversation stutters to a halt. Every head turns. Every eye calculates, assesses, judges. I feel their gazes like physical weight, cataloging my dress, my face, my inadequacy for this role I've been forced into. "Smile," Dominic murmurs against my ear, his breath warm. "You're supposed to be happy." I arrange my face into something approximating joy. The muscles feel wrong, like I'm wearing a mask that doesn't quite fit. But I hold it, let him guide me deeper into the room where Constantine waits surrounded by men in expensive suits and women dripping in jewels. "Dominic, my boy." Constantine's voice carries across the space. He spreads his arms wide in a gesture of welcome that's completely at odds with the calculation in his eyes. "Bring your bride. Let everyone see what you've won." Won. Like I'm a prize in some competition I didn't know was happening. Dominic leads me forward, and I notice the way people part for us. Not scrambling, not obvious, just a subtle shifting that creates a clear path. Fear disguised as courtesy. Respect born from terror. Constantine takes my hand when we reach him, brings it to his lips in a gesture that should be courtly, but feels like a claim of ownership. "Vera Dmitrievna, You are even more beautiful than the photographs suggested. Thank you. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. Years of dealing with pretentious art collectors taught me how to fake confidence. I just never imagined I'd need those skills to survive a mafia reception. Your father sends his regards, Constantine continues, and I catch the threat underneath the pleasant tone. He was quite emotional at the ceremony. Pride, I think, seeing his daughter married so well. Relief, more likely. Relief that he's alive, that his debt is paid, that he doesn't have to face the consequences of his own stupidity. He's very grateful, I say, because that's the script I'm supposed to follow. We all are. Gratitude. Constantine's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Such an important quality in family. Don't you agree, Dominic? Essential, Dominic says, his hand tightening fractionally on my waist. Loyalty and gratitude, the foundation of everything we build. The words feel like a code I don't fully understand. Some communication happening between Constantine and Dominic that I'm not privy to. I'm just the symbol they're using to send messages to each other and everyone watching. A woman approaches, late 50s, elegant in black silk with diamonds at her throat and wrists. Her hair is silver blonde, perfectly styled, and her eyes are the same slate gray as Dominic's. "Mama," Dominic says, and I hear something shift in his voice. Not quite warmth, but closer than the cold control he's shown so far. His mother. No one mentioned his mother. She studies me with the intensity of someone appraising livestock. Her gaze travels from my blood-stained hem to my face, lingering on details I can't identify. Then she says something in rapid Russian that makes Dominic's jaw tighten. "English, Mama," he says quietly. "Vera doesn't speak Russian yet." Yet. As if it's inevitable that I'll learn. As if I'll be here long enough to need it. "She's very young," his mother says, switching languages without missing a beat. Her English is flawless, barely accented, and very American. "This will be difficult for you both." "We'll manage," Dominic replies. "Will you?" She turns her full attention to me, and I fight the urge to step back. "Do you know what you've married into, child?" "Mama," "It's a fair question." She cuts him off with a gesture. She should understand what's expected, what's required. Her eyes bore into mine. "My son is not like other men. His work is not like other work. Can you accept that?" I think about the blood on my dress, the casual way Dominic explained it, the guards at every exit, the guns I've seen badly hidden under suit jackets, the way everyone in this room moves like they're constantly prepared for violence. I don't have a choice, I say honestly, so I'll accept whatever I have to. Something flickers in her expression. Not quite approval, but maybe recognition. "At least you're honest. That's better than the last girl Constantine tried to match him with. She thought she could change him, make him soft." She glances at her son. That didn't end well. "Mama, enough." Dominic's voice carries an edge now. She pats his cheek with surprising affection. "Take care of this one. She has sad eyes. I like her already." Then she's gone, swept up by other guests, and I'm left trying to process what just happened. "Your mother is terrifying," I say before I can stop myself. Dominic's lips twitch. Not quite a smile, but close. She'd consider that a compliment. Come. More people to meet. More performances to give. The next 2 hours blur into a parade of introductions. Russians with names I can't pronounce. Italians who eye Dominic with a mixture of respect and wariness. A few Americans who seem uncomfortable in this crowd, like they're not entirely sure how they ended up at a mafia wedding reception. Everyone congratulates us. Everyone comments on how lovely I look. No one mentions the blood on my dress, though I catch more than one person's gaze drifting down to the stains, curiosity flickering before careful neutrality reasserts itself. Dominic never leaves my side. His hand stays at my waist, my elbow, my shoulder, always touching, always claiming. To anyone watching, we look like newlyweds who can't bear to be apart. The reality is that he's making sure I can't run, can't embarrass him by making a scene. A man approaches, younger than most of the guests, maybe late 20s. Handsome in a calculated way, with dark hair styled with too much product and a suit that's trying too hard. He has the look of someone who wants to be dangerous, but isn't quite there yet. Dominic. He nods, but his eyes are on me. Congratulations on the marriage. She's lovely. Victor. Dominic's tone goes flat. I wasn't aware you were invited. Constantine extended the invitation personally. Victor's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Thought I should pay my respects. After all, we go back a long way, don't we? The tension between them is thick enough to cut. Whatever history they share, it's not friendly. Your respects are noted, Dominic says. You can leave now. So hostile. Victor turns his full attention to me, and something about his gaze makes my skin crawl. Has he told you about Sarajevo? About what happened there? Victor. Dominic's voice drops to something dangerous. Walk away. I'm just making conversation with your beautiful bride. Victor takes a step closer to me, deliberately invading my space. You should know what kind of man you've married, Vera. What he's capable of when... Dominic moves so fast I barely track it. One moment he's beside me, the next he has Victor by the throat, slamming him back against the nearest wall. The impact rattles a nearby painting. Conversation around us dies instantly. Touch her, look at her, speak to her again, Dominic says, each word precise and deadly. And Sarajevo will look like mercy compared to what I do to you. Are we clear? Victor's face is turning red, but he manages a choked, clear. Dominic releases him, and Victor staggers, gasping. Two guards appear from nowhere, taking Victor by the arms and escorting him toward the exit. The message is unmistakable. He's no longer welcome. The room holds its breath for exactly 3 seconds. Then conversation resumes as if nothing happened. People turn back to their drinks, their discussions, carefully pretending they didn't just witness Dominic Russo threaten to murder someone at his own wedding reception. I stand frozen, my heart hammering so hard I'm surprised no one can hear it. Dominic turns back to me, and his expression has shifted back to that careful neutrality. Are you all right? I don't know. Honest, because I genuinely don't know how to process what just happened. Should I be? He won't bother you again. Dominic's hand finds mine, laces our fingers together. No one will. It should comfort me. Instead, it reminds me exactly what kind of man I've married. The kind who handles problems with violence, who threatens death as casually as most people threaten lawsuits, who can go from cold control to explosive fury and back again in seconds. Who is he? I ask quietly. Victor, who is he to you? Someone I used to work with, before Constantine. Dominic guides me toward a quieter corner of the ballroom. He made mistakes. I paid for them. Now he thinks we're equals. We're not. What happened in Sarajevo? His jaw tightens. Nothing you need to know about, not tonight. But eventually, he looks at me then, really looks at me, and I see something underneath the control. Something almost like regret. Eventually you'll know everything. All my sins, all my scars. But not tonight. Tonight, you're allowed to still think you married someone who might be redeemable. The honesty in that statement catches me off guard. I'd expected deflection, lies, the kind of comfortable fiction most people tell themselves. Not this raw admission that he's aware of exactly what he is. Constantine appears before I can respond, a glass of champagne in each hand. He offers one to me. A toast to new beginnings and family bonds. I take the glass because refusing isn't an option. Dominic takes the other, though I notice he doesn't drink. You handled Victor well, Constantine says to Dominic, approval clear in his voice. Swift, public, unmistakable. Good. People need to understand she's untouchable now. She is, Dominic confirms. They're talking about me like I'm not standing right here. Like I'm a possession to be protected rather than a person with opinions and agency. I sip the champagne to have something to do besides scream. The families are pleased, Constantine continues. This alliance strengthens our position considerably. The Italians respect family. Now you have one. He looks at me. You should drink. It's fine champagne. Dom Perignon, 1996. Very expensive. I take another sip because he's watching, waiting. The champagne is good. Better than anything I've tasted before. It probably does cost more than my monthly rent used to. But all I can taste is the bitterness of the situation. She's quiet, Constantine observes. Is she always this quiet? She's processing, Dominic says. It's been a long day. Of course, of course. Constantine waves a hand dismissively. These things are overwhelming, especially for someone so young, so sheltered. But she'll adapt. They always do. He drains his champagne in one swallow. I have other guests to attend to. Dominic, we'll speak tomorrow about the Brooklyn situation. 9 o'clock, my office. I'll be there. Constantine leaves, and I exhale slowly. Does he always talk about people in third person when they're standing right there? Usually. Dominic takes my barely touched champagne and sets both glasses on a passing server's tray. He's testing you, seeing how you react to being invisible. I'm not invisible, I say, more sharply than I intend. I'm standing right here. I know. He studies my face. But in his world, women are accessories. Beautiful, useful, but not participants. You'll need to play that role when he's watching. And when he's not? When he's not, you can be whoever you want to be. His hand comes up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear, and the gesture is so unexpectedly gentle that I freeze. Within reason. What's reason? Not running. Not trying to leave. Not doing anything that makes me look weak or compromised. His fingers trail down my jaw. Besides that, we'll figure it out as we go. It's not freedom, but it's more than I expected. More than I'd hoped for when I signed that contract 6 weeks ago. The reception continues around us. Music plays from somewhere I can't see. People dance, drink, laugh like this is a normal celebration. Like we're normal people starting a normal life together. But nothing about this is normal. A woman approaches, Eastern European accent, mid-30s, stunning in a red dress that probably cost more than my education. Dominic, congratulations. Her smile is calculated, predatory. I had no idea you were getting married. So sudden. Yelena. Dominic's tone is carefully neutral, but I feel him tense beside me. This is my wife, Vera. Wife? Yelena's gaze travels over me with open disdain. How domestic. I never thought I'd see the day. There's history here. I don't know what kind, but I recognize the venom in her voice. The way she looks at Dominic like she owns some part of him I'm now trespassing on. Times change, Dominic says. Clearly. Yelena's attention shifts to me. You're very young. How old are you? 22? 23? 24, I say, though I don't know why I'm answering her. 24. She laughs, and it's not kind. I remember being 24. So naive. So convinced that I could change the world, change people. Her eyes find Dominic again. You can't change him, sweetheart. Don't even try. Men like Dominic are carved from ice. They don't thaw. I'm not trying to change anyone, I say quietly. I'm just trying to survive. Something flickers in her expression. Surprise, maybe. Recognition. At least you're honest about it. That's more than most. She turns to leave, then pauses. Good luck, Vera. You'll need it. She disappears into the crowd and I release a breath I didn't know I was holding. Ex-girlfriend, I ask. Complicated. Dominic steers me toward the exit. We should go. You've been on display long enough. I don't argue. My feet hurt from heels I'm not used to wearing. My face aches from smiling at strangers. My whole body feels like it's been wound too tight for too long. We slip out through a side door, escaping the ballroom's oppressive atmosphere. The hallway beyond is blessedly quiet, cool marble under my feet, as Dominic leads me down corridors I don't recognize. "Where are we going?" I ask. "Your room." "My room, not our room?" He glances back at me. "Did you want to share a room tonight?" I think about it. About being alone with him in intimate quarters. About what marriage traditionally means. What he might expect. Fear coils in my stomach. "No," I admit, "I don't." "Then you have your own room. Connected to mine by a door, but yours. Private, safe." We stop in front of a heavy wooden door. I don't force women, Vera. Not even ones I've married. The relief is so profound I nearly sag against the wall. I'd been preparing myself for the worst. Had resigned myself to doing whatever was necessary to survive the wedding night. "Thank you," I whisper. "Don't thank me for basic decency." He opens the door, revealing a bedroom that's larger than my entire apartment used to be. King bed with silk sheets, sitting area, walk-in closet visible through an open door. Windows overlooking gardens I can't fully see in the darkness. "Your things are already here," he continues. "Clothes, personal items, everything we collected from your apartment. If something's missing, tell me and I'll have it acquired." I step inside, and it smells like jasmine and expensive wood polish. Nothing like home. Everything foreign and intimidating. Dominic lingers in the doorway. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll talk about expectations, boundaries, how this arrangement will work day to day. But tonight, just sleep." He starts to close the door and I hear myself say, "Dominic?" He pauses. "Yes?" "That blood on my dress. The guard who tried to run. Did you kill him?" The silence stretches between us. Then quietly, "Yes." "Why?" "Because he broke the rules. Because if I let one person run without consequences, everyone thinks they can run. Because in my world, weakness is death." He meets my eyes. "Because that's what I am, Vera. That's what you married. A killer who follows orders and protects what's his." "Am I his?" I ask. "Yours? Or am I Constantine's?" "You're mine." Absolutely certain. No hesitation. "The marriage certificate says Russo, not Constantine. That makes you my responsibility, my problem, my wife." Lucky me. His lips quirk in something that might be almost humor. "Get some sleep, Mrs. Russo. Tomorrow your real education begins." Then he's gone. The door closing with a soft click that sounds remarkably like a cell door locking. I stand in the middle of my gilded cage, blood-stained wedding dress clinging to my skin, and try to process everything that's happened in the last 8 hours. This morning I woke up as Vera Sinclair, art history graduate with crippling student debt, but at least some semblance of freedom. Tonight I'm Vera Russo, property of a killer, bound to a world I don't understand. The ring on my finger catches the light. Heavy. Expensive. A shackle disguised as jewelry. I move to the windows, look out at the estate grounds. Security lights illuminate manicured lawns, stone pathways, the high walls that surround the entire property. Beautiful. Secure. Absolutely inescapable. Somewhere in this enormous house, Dominic is doing whatever dangerous men do when they're alone. Planning. Strategizing. Maybe thinking about the woman he killed this morning. Or maybe not thinking about him at all because death is just part of the job. I unzip the wedding dress with shaking fingers, let it pool at my feet. The blood has dried into stiff patches that scratch my skin. I leave it there on the floor, step over it, and move to the bathroom. The shower is marble and glass, with more settings than I can figure out. I turn it on hot as I can stand, and scrub my skin until it's pink and raw. Scrub away the makeup, the performance, the feeling of being watched and assessed and judged. But I can't scrub away the reality. I'm married to Dominic Russo, and there's no going back. When I finally emerge, wrapped in a towel softer than anything I've ever owned, I find pajamas laid out on the bed. Silk, my size. Tags already removed. Someone prepared this room for me, stocked it with everything I might need, made sure I'd be comfortable in my prison. I dress, climb into bed, and stare at the ceiling. sleep should be impossible. But exhaustion wins out, dragging me under into dreams filled with blood and slate-gray eyes, and a voice that says mine with absolute certainty. "Tomorrow," Dominic said, "we'd talk about expectations. Tomorrow my real education begins." I close my eyes and let the darkness take me. Chapter 2. New Rules. I wake to sunlight streaming through windows I don't recognize and sheets that smell like lavender instead of the cheap detergent I'm used to. For 3 blissful seconds, I forget where I am. Forget what happened yesterday. Forget that I'm no longer Vera Sinclair. Then reality crashes back with the weight of the diamond ring on my finger. I'm married to a killer, living in a compound run by the Russian mafia. The clock on the nightstand reads 7:43 a.m. I've slept later than usual, probably because my body finally gave up fighting the exhaustion. The wedding dress still lies where I left it last night, a crumpled heap of white silk and dried blood on the bathroom floor. Evidence of violence I witnessed but couldn't prevent. A knock at the door makes me sit up, pulling the sheets to my chest, even though I'm fully dressed in the silk pajamas someone provided. "Come in," I call, voice rough with sleep. A woman enters, maybe 50, with steel-gray hair pulled into a neat bun, and the kind of posture that suggests military training. She's carrying a tray with coffee, fruit, and what looks like fresh pastries. "Good morning, Mrs. Russo." Her accent is thick, Eastern European. "I am Irina. I manage the household staff. Mr. Russo asked me to bring you breakfast and help you prepare for the day." "Mrs. Russo." The name sounds foreign, like it belongs to someone else entirely. "Thank you, Irina." I accept the tray as she sets it on the bed. The coffee smells incredible, rich and dark. "That's very kind." "Not kind. My job." She moves to the windows, adjusting curtains with practiced efficiency. "Mr. Russo has meetings this morning but requests you join him for lunch at 1 o'clock. Until then, you are free to explore the estate. Within the gates, of course." "Of course, because I'm a prisoner here, even if the cage is luxurious. He also said to give you this." Irina produces a smartphone from her apron pocket. "Your contacts have been transferred. The phone is secure, encrypted. You may call anyone you wish, but all calls are monitored for security purposes." She says it so matter-of-factly, like it's completely normal to have every conversation surveilled. Maybe in this world it is. I take the phone, see that it's already set up with my name, my old contacts, everything from my previous life now existing in this controlled environment. "Your brother called last night," Irina continues. "3 times. Mr. Russo thought you might want to know. He did not answer, felt you should speak to your family yourself when ready. Thomas. My baby brother. Probably panicking about the wedding, about me, about everything. I need to call him, reassure him I'm fine, even though fine is a relative term right now." "Thank you," I say again, because I don't know what else to say to this woman who's helping maintain my captivity with such polite efficiency. "Your clothes are in the closet." Irina gestures toward the walk-in. "We brought everything from your apartment. Plus, Mr. Russo had his personal shopper provide additional items more suitable for your new position. If anything doesn't fit, let me know, and I will have it altered." She leaves before I can respond, closing the door with a soft click. I sit in the enormous bed, surrounded by luxury I never asked for, and sip coffee that probably costs more per cup than I used to spend on groceries in a week. It's perfect, rich, smooth, exactly the right temperature. Everything here is perfect in a way that makes my skin crawl. The phone feels heavy in my hand. I should call Thomas. Should let him know I survived the wedding, that I'm okay, that he shouldn't worry. But I can't bring myself to dial. Can't figure out how to explain any of this in a way that won't terrify him. So I set the phone aside and focus on the breakfast Irina brought. The fruit is fresh, probably organic. The pastries are still warm. There's even a small jar of honey, real honey, not the corn syrup substitute I'm used to. I eat mechanically, tasting nothing, just consuming calories because my body needs fuel even if my appetite has died. When I'm done, I force myself out of bed and into the walk-in closet. Irina wasn't exaggerating. The space is larger than my old bedroom, with built-in shelving and hanging rods displaying more clothes than I've owned in my entire life. My old wardrobe occupies one small section, jeans and t-shirts and the few professional pieces I'd collected for gallery interviews that never panned out. The rest is new. Designer labels I recognize from magazines I couldn't afford to buy. Dresses, slacks, blouses, all in my size, all coordinated by color and style. Someone studied me, measured me, decided what I should wear now that I'm Mrs. Russo. I choose jeans and a simple black sweater from my old clothes. Small rebellion that probably doesn't matter but makes me feel slightly more like myself. The jeans are looser than they used to be. I've lost weight over the last 6 weeks, stress eating away at my appetite. The bathroom is marble and chrome, shower large enough for 4 people, counter space that could accommodate a small pharmacy. My toiletries from home look pathetic next to the expensive products that have been provided. Designer skincare, luxury makeup, perfumes that probably cost more than my monthly student loan payments used to be. I shower quickly, trying not to look at the blood-stained wedding dress still crumpled on the floor. Someone will clean it up, dispose of the evidence, make it disappear like it never happened. By the time I'm dressed and somewhat presentable, it's nearly 9. The house is quiet, or maybe just well-insulated enough that I can't hear whatever's happening in other parts of the estate. I stand at the window, looking out at grounds that stretch toward walls I can't quite see from this angle. I could explore. Irina said I'm free to move around within the gates, but the thought of wandering alone through this massive house, possibly running into people I don't know, guards who see me as the boss's property, makes my stomach twist. Instead, I pick up the phone and finally call Thomas. He answers on the first ring. Vera? Oh my God, Vera, are you okay? I've been trying to reach you all night. Dad said you got married, but he wouldn't tell me anything else, just kept saying you're fine and I should give you space, but... Tommy, breathe. I use his childhood nickname, the one that always calmed him down during his panic attacks in high school. I'm fine. I'm okay. You got married. To some Russian guy Dad owed money to. Vera, what the hell is going on? How do I explain this? How do I tell my 20-year-old brother that I sold myself to save his life, to keep him safe, to make sure he could finish his degree without looking over his shoulder for debt collectors who break bones as easily as promises? It's complicated, I say, which is the understatement of the century. Dad had debts. This was the way to clear them. I'm married now, but I'm safe. The guy Dominic, he's actually decent. Better than I expected. The lies taste like ash in my mouth. Dominic isn't decent. He's a killer who follows orders from a man who controls half of Chicago's criminal underworld. But Thomas doesn't need to know that. Thomas needs to believe I'm okay, so he can focus on his engineering degree and not spend the rest of his life drowning in guilt. Vera, you can't just marry someone to pay off Dad's debts. That's insane. That's like something out of a historical novel. This is 2024. You have rights. We can go to the police. No police. The words come out sharper than I intend. Tommy, listen to me. This is handled. The debt is gone. You're safe. That's all that matters. What about you? Are you safe? I look around the gilded cage I'm standing in. At the expensive furniture and designer clothes and the door that leads to freedom I can't access. Yes, I'm safe. Another lie. But maybe if I repeat it enough times, it'll become true. We talk for another 10 minutes, me deflecting his questions, him trying to piece together a situation that doesn't make sense in his world of calculus homework and fraternity parties. Finally, I convince him I'm fine, make him promise to focus on his midterms, and end the call before my voice cracks. The phone immediately buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Your brother sounds concerned. Perhaps you should visit him soon. Let him see you're well. D. Dominic, watching, monitoring. Even my call to my own brother wasn't private. I type back. You said all calls are monitored. I didn't realize you were listening personally. His response comes within seconds. I'm not. Security reviews all calls and flags anything concerning. Thomas mentioning police triggered an alert. I'm reviewing now. Are you going to punish me for what he said? A longer pause this time. Then, Why would I punish you for your brother's understandable reaction? You're not responsible for his words, only your own. And your words were careful, protective, exactly what they needed to be. I stare at the message, not sure how to feel about his approval. Part of me resents that he's judging my conversation at all. Another part is relieved he's not angry. Can I actually visit him, or was that suggestion just for show? You can visit him. With security, obviously. We'll arrange it for next weekend if you'd like. Let him see you're being treated well. Am I being treated well? The question sits there for almost a minute before his response appears. Are you being harmed? Denied food, comfort, basic dignity? Forced into anything against your explicit refusal? No. Then by the standards of this world, yes. You're being treated very well. By your standards, I imagine it feels like captivity with good amenities. Both things can be true simultaneously. The honesty in that message catches me off guard. I expect him to gaslight me, to insist this is all perfectly normal, and I should be grateful. Instead, he acknowledges the reality of my situation with almost clinical clarity. I have to go. Meeting in 5 minutes. Irina will show you around the estate if you'd like. Or you can stay in your room. Your choice. Lunch at 1. The conversation ends, and I'm left holding a phone that feels like both a lifeline and a leash. I spend the next few hours exploring my immediate surroundings. The bedroom has a sitting area with a small library, books in English and Russian, fiction and nonfiction, everything from classic literature to contemporary thrillers. Someone stocked this room with care, paying attention to details. There's a desk with a laptop already set up, logged into accounts I didn't create but that bear my name. Email, social media, everything transferred and monitored. A knock interrupts my investigation. Irina enters without waiting for permission, and I'm starting to understand that privacy is a concept that doesn't really exist in this house. Mrs. Russo, would you like a tour of the estate? Her tone is polite but firm, suggesting this isn't really a question. Yes, thank you. She leads me through corridors that all look the same at first, marble floors and expensive art on walls, but slowly I start to notice differences. The wing we're in seems residential. Other sections look more business-oriented, with closed doors and the occasional guard standing at attention. The East Wing is Mr. Constantine's private residence, Irina explains as we walk. You should not enter without explicit invitation. The West Wing is Mr. Russo's domain. That includes your quarters. The central section houses offices, meeting rooms, security operations. The North Wing contains guest suites, currently occupied by several associates conducting extended business in Chicago. So there are other people living here? Always. This is not just a home, Mrs. Russo. It is headquarters. Mr. Constantine conducts all major operations from here. Mr. Russo manages enforcement and logistics. There are perhaps 30 permanent residents, not counting security staff. 30 people. 30 potential witnesses to whatever happens within these walls. Or 30 potential threats, depending on how you look at it. Irina shows me the library, an enormous room filled with books in multiple languages. The formal dining room that seats 40. A less formal breakfast room where I'm apparently expected to take morning meals. The kitchen, all stainless steel and professional equipment, staffed by cooks who barely glance up when we enter. You may request any food you desire, Irina says. Chef Anton is trained in multiple cuisines. Simply let me know your preferences. We exit through a side door into gardens that are beautiful despite the October chill. Stone pathways wind between manicured beds. A fountain burbles in the center, water catching afternoon light. It would be peaceful if not for the armed guards I can see stationed at regular intervals around the perimeter. The grounds are secure, Irina notes, following my gaze. You may walk freely within the walls. The gates are locked and monitored. For your safety. For my safety. Everyone keeps using that phrase, as if the walls are keeping danger out rather than keeping me in. And if I wanted to leave? Go to the store? Visit a friend? You would inform Mr. Russo. He would assign security. You would be escorted. She says it like it's perfectly reasonable. For your safety, she repeats, as if that makes it acceptable. We complete the circle back to the main house. Irina checks her watch. 12:30. You should prepare for lunch. Mr. Russo prefers punctuality. She leads me back to my room, leaves me there with instructions to be ready in 20 minutes. I change into one of the new outfits, gray slacks and a cream blouse that fit perfectly, because of course they do. Apply minimal makeup because I don't know what's expected and don't want to guess wrong. Brush my hair until it falls straight and neat down my back. When I emerge, a guard I don't recognize is waiting in the hallway. Mrs. Russo, this way, please. He leads me through the house to a room I didn't see on Irina's tour. It's smaller than the formal dining room, more intimate, with a table set for two. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the gardens. Dominic stands by the windows, phone to his ear, speaking rapid Russian. He glances up when I enter, and something shifts in his expression. Not quite a smile, but a softening around his eyes. He ends the call mid-sentence and pockets the phone. Vera. Good. I was hoping you wouldn't make me wait. He pulls out a chair for me. Please sit. I sit because standing feels more awkward. He takes the seat across from me, and a server appears immediately with plates of food I didn't order. Caesar salad, perfectly grilled chicken, roasted vegetables that look like they came from a restaurant rather than a home kitchen. Did you sleep well? Dominic asks, unfolding his napkin with practiced precision. As well as could be expected. I pick up my fork, not sure if I should eat or wait for some signal. Thank you for not answering Thomas's calls, for letting me talk to him myself. He's your brother. Of course you should be the one to speak with him. Dominic cuts his chicken with knife movements that are almost surgical. I meant what I said. You can visit him next weekend. We'll arrange transport, security, everything you need. Why? He looks up, dark eyebrows raised. Why what? Why are you being decent about this? You could just lock me in that room, never let me contact anyone. You have all the power, so why let me have phone calls and visits and freedom to move around? Dominic sets down his utensils, leans back in his chair. For a moment, he just studies me, and I fight the urge to look away from that intense gray gaze. Because I'm not a sadist, he says finally. You're here because Constantine arranged this marriage to secure certain alliances and clear your father's debt. You didn't ask for this, didn't volunteer. The least I can do is make your captivity bearable. Captivity. I repeat the word he used. At least you're honest about what this is. Would you prefer I call it something else? Marriage implies partnership. This isn't that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. You're here because you have to be. I'm your husband because Constantine ordered it. Neither of us chose this freely. He picks up his wine glass, swirls the dark liquid. But we can choose how we handle it. I can make your life miserable, or I can give you whatever small freedoms exist within the constraints we're operating under. I choose the latter. Why? Because you're here for the foreseeable future. Because making you miserable serves no purpose. Because despite what you might think, I'm not actually a monster who enjoys causing suffering. Just a monster who causes suffering when it's necessary? His lips quirk in something that might be almost humor. Exactly that. When it's necessary. When it serves a purpose. When someone breaks rules or threatens things I'm meant to protect. But I don't torture for entertainment, Vera. I'm not cruel without cause. I should probably find that reassuring. Instead, it just reminds me how different his moral framework is from anything I understand. We eat in silence for a few minutes. The food is excellent, prepared by someone who clearly knows what they're doing. But it tastes like ash in my mouth. Tell me about your art history degree, Dominic says suddenly. Irina mentioned you graduated from Northwestern. What was your focus? The question catches me off guard. Italian Renaissance, mostly. I wrote my thesis on the influence of Medici patronage on Florentine art in the 15th century. The Medicis. Interest flickers in his eyes. Bankers who became kingmakers through strategic marriages and political manipulation. And art patronage. They funded some of the greatest works of the Renaissance. They also assassinated rivals, corrupted clergy, and maintained power through carefully orchestrated violence. He takes a sip of wine. Sound familiar? The parallel between the Medicis and the modern mafia is so obvious I can't believe I never saw it before. You're saying your world is just a continuation of what's always existed. I'm saying power has always operated the same way. The Medicis dressed it up in commissioned paintings and architectural projects. We dress it up in legitimate businesses and charitable foundations. Same game, different era. That's a very cynical worldview. It's an accurate worldview. He cuts another piece of chicken. Your education prepared you to understand this world better than you probably realize. You studied patronage systems, family alliances, the relationship between art and power. You just didn't expect to live inside a modern version of the same structures. He's right, and I hate that he's right. Everything I learned about Renaissance politics applies here. Strategic marriages, family loyalty over individual desire, power maintained through careful balance of generosity and violence. So what am I supposed to do with that understanding? I ask. Paint you as a Medici prince and pretend this is all historically inevitable? You're supposed to survive. His voice drops lower, more serious. You're supposed to learn the rules, figure out how to navigate this world without getting yourself or the people you love killed. You're supposed to adapt. And if I don't want to adapt, if I want to fight, then you'll lose. Simple. Absolute. And the people you're trying to protect will pay the price. Your brother, your father, anyone you care about becomes leverage. That's how this works, Vera. The only way to protect them is to play by the rules. The threat is delivered calmly, almost gently, but it's unmistakable. So I'm trapped, I say. Yes. He doesn't soften it, doesn't try to make it sound better than it is. You're trapped, but within that trap, you have choices. How you spend your time, who you talk to, what freedoms you negotiate. I'm not unreasonable. Just inflexible about the fundamentals. Exactly. The server returns to clear our plates, brings dessert. Tiramisu that looks professionally made. I take a bite because refusing feels petty. I need to understand the rules, I say finally. All of them. Not just the obvious ones. If I'm going to survive here, I need to know exactly what I can and can't do. Dominic nods, something like approval in his expression. Smart. Most people wait until they've already broken rules to ask what they are. All right. Here's how this works. Chapter 3, The Rules. Dominic pushes his dessert plate aside and leans back in his chair, studying me with that unsettling focus he seems to apply to everything. Outside the windows, clouds are rolling in, threatening rain. Rule 1, he begins, voice steady and matter-of-fact. You don't leave the estate without telling me first. Not to the store, not to visit friends, nowhere. You want to go somewhere. You inform me at least 24 hours in advance when possible. I assign security, arrange transportation, approve the destination. So I'm essentially under house arrest. You're under protection. There's a difference. He refills his wine glass, doesn't offer me any. I notice he's been drinking while I haven't touched alcohol since the champagne at the reception. The moment Constantine announced our engagement 6 weeks ago, you became a target. Every rival organization in Chicago knows that hurting you hurts me, which hurts Constantine. That makes you valuable leverage. The clinical way he describes my value as a hostage makes my stomach turn. Has anyone actually tried? 3 times. He says it so casually, like he's discussing the weather. Once at your apartment building, 2 men waiting in the parking garage. Once near your campus, a car that followed you for 6 blocks. Once at the coffee shop you used to frequent on Wednesday mornings. My blood runs cold. I never noticed anyone following me. That's because my people were better at their job than the people trying to grab you. He takes a sip of wine. You were protected from the moment your father signed the contract, Vera. You just didn't know it. I think back over the last 6 weeks. The man who'd held the door for me at Starbucks. The woman who'd smiled at me on the train. The delivery driver who'd seemed overly friendly. How many of them had been Dominic's people, watching me, keeping me safe from threats I never saw coming? Why didn't anyone tell me? Because you would have run. Most people do when they realize they're being watched 24 hours a day. His gray eyes don't leave my face. We needed you compliant until the wedding made everything official. Compliant. I taste the word, bitter as poison. You mean trapped. I mean safe. He sets down his glass with deliberate care. Do you want to hear the rest of the rules, or do you want to spend the afternoon debating semantics? I swallow my anger because he's right. Arguing won't change anything. Tell me the rest. Rule 2. Everything you say on the phone, every text message, every email, it's all monitored. Not by me personally unless something flags as concerning, but by the security team. They're looking for threats, information leaks, anything that could compromise operations or put you in danger. So I have no privacy. You have the privacy I can afford to give you without risking your life or mine. If that's not acceptable, we can discuss adjustments, but understand that every freedom comes with calculated risk. I think about Thomas's call this morning, how quickly Dominic knew about the mention of police, how he'd reviewed the entire conversation. What would have happened if I'd told Thomas to call the police? I would have explained why that was a bad idea. If you'd insisted, I would have had to escalate to Constantine. He would have handled it. The unspoken threat hangs between us. Constantine's version of handling problems involves people disappearing. But you didn't insist. You protected your brother by lying to him. That shows good judgment. It shows I'm terrified of what you'll do to my family if I step out of line. Yes. No apology, no softening, just acknowledgement. Fear is a useful motivator, but so is trust. I'd prefer to build the latter, but I'll use whatever works. How reassuring. He ignores the sarcasm. Rule 3. You don't discuss business. Not with me, not with anyone else in the organization, not with outsiders. If you overhear something, you forget it immediately. If someone asks you questions about operations, you plead ignorance. This protects both you and the organization. What if I want to know what's happening? What you're doing, what Constantine is planning? Then you're asking to become complicit in activities that carry federal prison sentences. His voice drops lower. I keep you separate from business deliberately, Vera. It's the only protection I can offer. The less you know, the less you can be forced to testify about if something goes wrong. The logic is sound even if I hate it. So I'm supposed to just exist in ignorance while you do whatever it is you do. Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And if I see something I can't ignore, if something happens right in front of me, you still forget it. Absolute. No room for negotiation. This isn't optional. This is the rule that keeps you alive if we're ever raided, investigated, put under surveillance. You know nothing. You see nothing. You're an innocent wife who married into circumstances she didn't fully understand. That's not far from the truth. Exactly. Hold on to that truth. Let it shield you. He stands, moves to the windows, hands in his pockets. Rule 4. You don't enter Constantine's wing without explicit invitation. His business is separate from mine. His associates are not your concern. If you encounter them in common areas, you're polite, but you don't engage beyond basic courtesy. Why? Because some of them are dangerous in ways I can't control. Because Constantine's operations involve people and activities I deliberately distance myself from. Because I trust exactly 3 people in this house, and you need to trust even fewer. Who are the 3? He glances back at me. Myself, my mother, Irina. Everyone else is a potential threat until proven otherwise. The paranoia required to live like this, to trust so few people, to see danger in every interaction. It's exhausting just thinking about it. How do you live like this? Always watching, always calculating, never relaxing. Practice. And the knowledge that relaxing gets you killed. He turns fully to face me. Rule 5. You maintain the appearance of a happy marriage in public. We attend events together. You smile, accept compliments, play the role of devoted wife. What happens in private is between us, but publicly, We present a united front. Because appearances matter in your world. Appearances are everything in my world. Perception shapes reality. If people believe we're solid, they don't look for weaknesses to exploit. He moves back to the table, stands close enough that I have to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. If they think there's discord, they start wondering if you're vulnerable, if you could be turned against me, if you'd cooperate with authorities in exchange for protection. Would I? I don't know. He says it honestly. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Whether you're someone who can adapt to this life or someone who'll spend every day looking for an exit. And if I'm the latter, then I adjust my approach accordingly. Increase surveillance. Limit freedoms. Whatever's necessary to maintain security. He reaches out, tucks a strand of hair behind my ear with surprising gentleness. I'd rather not. I'd rather we find a way to coexist that doesn't require me treating you like a hostile asset. But that depends on you. His touch sends an unwanted shiver down my spine. I step back, putting distance between us. What are my options here? Really? If I play by your rules, if I'm the perfect compliant wife, what does my life look like? Comfortable. Safe. Boring, probably. He doesn't move closer, just watches me. You have access to anything money can buy. Want to take classes? I'll arrange it. Want to work? We'll find something suitable. Want to travel? We'll make it happen with appropriate security. You have more freedom than most people in your situation. Most people in my situation are called hostages. Yes. Again, that brutal honesty. But you're a hostage who'll be treated well if you cooperate. That's the best offer you're going to get. I sink back into my chair, suddenly exhausted. The weight of everything, the rules, the surveillance, the constant calculation required just to exist here, it's crushing. How long do I have to do this? The marriage contract is permanent. Divorce isn't an option Constantine would approve, so the honest answer is indefinitely. He sits across from me again. But things can evolve. If you prove trustworthy, restrictions ease. If we develop genuine partnership, the dynamic shifts. This doesn't have to be adversarial forever. Partnership? You mean like actually being married? I mean like being allies. People who trust each other enough to function as a team rather than captor and captive. He studies his wine glass. I'm not expecting love, Vera. I'm not even expecting friendship. But mutual respect, shared goals, that's achievable if you're willing to try. And what would those shared goals be? Survival, security, building something resembling a life within the constraints we're operating under. He looks up, meets my eyes. I know this isn't what you wanted, but it's what we have. The question is whether we make the best of it or spend the next several decades making each other miserable. There's something almost vulnerable in the way he says it. Like he actually cares whether I'm miserable. Like my suffering would bother him beyond the practical inconvenience it might cause. I need time, I say finally. Time to process all of this. Time to figure out who I am in this situation. You have time. As much as you need. He stands again. This restless energy that doesn't seem to let him sit still for long. There's a library on the second floor. West Wing. It's quiet. Private. No one will bother you there. I'll have Irina show you. Thank you. Don't thank me for basic considerations. He moves toward the door, pauses with his hand on the handle. One more thing. Tonight there's a dinner. Small gathering, maybe 10 people. Associates of Constantine's. You're expected to attend, but you don't have to stay the whole time if it becomes overwhelming. Just let me know and I'll make an excuse for you to leave. What's the dinner for? Officially? Celebrating our marriage. Actually? Business. They want to see you. Assess whether I'm compromised by having a wife. Determine if you're a liability they need to worry about. His jaw tightens. It's a test. For both of us. And if we fail? We won't. Certainty in his voice. You're smart, adaptable, and you've already proven you can perform under pressure. Just follow my lead, stay close, and remember that you're mine. No one touches you, questions you directly, or makes you uncomfortable without dealing with me first. The possessiveness in his tone should bother me. Instead, it's oddly reassuring, like having a shield, even if that shield is also my jailer. What time? 7. Cocktails in the East drawing room. Dinner at 8. Dress formally. The blue dress in your closet, the one with the silver detail, that would be appropriate. He opens the door. I'll collect you at 6:45. Then he's gone, leaving me alone with half-eaten tiramisu and a head full of rules I'm expected to follow or face consequences I don't want to imagine. I sit there for several minutes, trying to organize my thoughts. 5 rules. 5 constraints that shape every aspect of my existence now. But within those rules, there's space. Room to breathe, to negotiate, to find some version of autonomy. It's not freedom, but maybe it's enough to survive on. Irina appears as if summoned, clearing the table with efficient movements. Mr. Russo mentioned the library. Would you like me to show you now? Yes, please. She leads me through corridors I'm starting to recognize, up a staircase with wrought iron railings, into the west wing where my bedroom is located. The library occupies the entire corner of the building, 2 stories tall with a spiral staircase connecting the levels. Floor-to-ceiling windows flood the space with natural light despite the cloudy day outside. Books line every available wall, thousands of them, organized by subject and language. Mr. Russo had your textbooks from university transferred here, Irina says, gesturing to a section near the windows. And books on Italian Renaissance art, as he thought you might want to continue your studies. I moved to the section she indicated. Find my old textbooks mixed with new volumes I've never seen. First editions of scholarly works, art catalogs from museums I've only visited virtually, reference materials that would have cost me thousands of dollars to acquire on my own. He did this? He instructed it. I oversaw the purchasing and organization. Irina's expression softened slightly. Mr. Russo is not a man who does things halfway. When he commits to something, he commits fully, including marriage to a woman he doesn't love, but will apparently provide for with meticulous attention to detail. Thank you, Irina. Of course, Mrs. Russo. I'll return at 6 to help you prepare for dinner. She leaves, and I'm finally, blessedly, alone. I sink into a leather chair positioned to overlook the gardens, pull one of my old textbooks into my lap, and try to ground myself in something familiar. The Medicis stare back at me from a chapter on patronage networks. Cosimo de' Medici, who controlled Florence through strategic marriages and calculated generosity. Lorenzo the Magnificent, who maintained power through art and violence in equal measure. A family that built an empire on the same principles Dominic just outlined. History repeating itself. Power structures that transcend centuries. I close the book, rest my head against the chair back, and watch rain begin to streak the windows. Somewhere in this enormous house, Dominic is conducting business I'm not allowed to know about. Constantine is planning operations I need to remain ignorant of. Guards are stationed at every exit, monitoring everyone who enters or leaves. And I'm sitting in a library stocked with books about Renaissance art, preparing for a dinner where dangerous men will assess whether I'm worth keeping alive. The absurdity of it almost makes me laugh. Almost. But laughter feels dangerous right now. Like if I start, I won't be able to stop. Like the hysteria building in my chest will crack me open, and everything I've been holding back will spill out. So I don't laugh. I don't cry. I just sit in the quiet library and try to memorize the rules that govern my new existence. Don't leave without permission. Everything is monitored. Don't discuss business. Stay away from Constantine's associates. Maintain appearances in public. 5 rules that shape the boundaries of my cage. 5 rules I have to follow perfectly if I want to survive. The rain intensifies, drumming against the windows with increasing urgency. I watch it pour down, washing away whatever existed before today, leaving only this moment, this reality, this life I never chose but have to live anyway. At 6 o'clock, Irina returns as promised. She brings the blue dress Dominic specified, along with shoes, jewelry, everything coordinated with the precision of a military operation. "Let's make you beautiful, Mrs. Russo," she says, not unkindly. "Tonight you shine." I follow her back to my room, let her work her magic with makeup and hair, transform me into someone who looks like they belong at a mob dinner party. When she's done, I barely recognize myself in the mirror. The dress fits perfectly, hugging curves I didn't know I had, the silver detail catching light like trapped stars. My hair is swept up in an elegant twist. My makeup is subtle but flawless. I look expensive, polished, like property worth protecting. At 6:45 exactly, Dominic knocks on my door. When I open it, something flickers in his eyes. Heat, maybe. Appreciation. It's gone so fast I might have imagined it. "You look perfect," he says simply. "Ready?" "No, but I'll pretend." His lips quirk in that almost smile. That's all anyone does at these things. "Come, let's go perform." He offers his arm and I take it. We walk through the corridors together, towards the east wing I've been told to avoid, towards dinner with people who want to determine if I'm a liability, towards whatever test this evening holds, and all I can do is remember the rules, follow Dominic's lead, and pray I survive with some shred of dignity intact. The drawing room doors loom ahead. Beyond them, voices murmur in Russian and English, the sound of ice in glasses, laughter that doesn't quite reach anyone's eyes. Dominic's hand covers mine where it rests on his arm. "You've got this," he murmurs. "Just stay close. I won't let anyone hurt you." It's the first promise he's made that sounds like he actually means it. Then we're through the doors and the performance begins. Chapter 4, The Test. The drawing room is smaller than I expected, which somehow makes it more intimidating. 10 people in evening wear, holding crystal glasses, conversations pausing mid-sentence as Dominic and I enter. Every eye turns to assess the new addition to their world. Constantine stands by the fireplace, distinguished in a charcoal suit that probably costs more than my father's car. He smiles when he sees us, the expression calculated to appear warm while his eyes remain cold and evaluating. "Ah, the happy couple." He sets down his drink and approaches. "Vera Dmitrievna, you look radiant. Doesn't she look radiant, Dominic?" She does. Dominic's hand remains at the small of my back, steady and grounding. "Thank you for hosting this dinner." Of course. We must celebrate properly." Constantine takes my hand, kisses it with old-world courtesy that feels like a claim of ownership. "Come, let me introduce you to everyone. These are friends, family, people you should know." He leads us into the room like we're trophies to be displayed. Dominic stays close, his presence a shield I'm grateful for, even as I resent needing it. The first couple Constantine introduces are the Volkovs. Dmitry Volkov, late 50s, heavy-set with cruel eyes and hands that look like they've broken bones. His wife Natasha, maybe half his age, beautiful in a brittle way that suggests she's learned to survive through careful performance. She barely speaks, just nods when introduced, her smile not reaching her eyes. "Dmitry handles our Eastern operations," Constantine explains, which tells me nothing and everything at once. Eastern operations. Drugs, probably, or weapons. Something that requires the kind of violence Dmitry's entire bearing suggests he's comfortable with. "A pleasure," I manage, accepting Dmitry's handshake. His grip is too firm, lasting a fraction too long, testing boundaries. Dominic's hand tightens on my waist. Not obvious, just enough pressure that Dmitry releases me and steps back. The message is clear. She's mine. Don't touch. Next is a man introduced as Mikhail. Younger than the others, maybe late 20s, with the kind of looks that would be striking if not for the deadness in his eyes. He's alone, no wife or date, and the way he watches me makes my skin crawl. "Mikhail works in acquisitions," Constantine says, and I don't ask what that means. Based on the way Dominic's jaw tightens, it's nothing good. "Mrs. Russo." Mikhail's voice is smooth, cultured, completely at odds with whatever violence he commits in the name of acquisitions. "I've heard many things about you. Your father's situation was quite desperate, I understand. The barb is delivered with a smile, a reminder that everyone here knows exactly how I ended up in this position. That I'm the daughter of a man too stupid to know when to fold, sold to clear a debt. My father made mistakes, I say carefully, remembering Dominic's instructions. Stay polite, but don't engage. I'm grateful Mr. Constantine was willing to find a solution that benefited everyone. Such a diplomatic answer. Mikhail's smile doesn't waver. Dominic, you've trained her well already. She doesn't need training. Dominic's voice drops to something dangerous. She's intelligent enough to navigate complex situations without guidance, a quality you might want to develop yourself. The insult is delivered so smoothly that it takes Mikhail a moment to register it. When he does, anger flashes in his eyes before he controls it. Of course, my apologies if I offended. Constantine laughs, breaking the tension. Come, this is a celebration, not a pissing contest. Vera, you must meet Elena. She'll be pleased to have another woman to talk to. These dinners are usually so male-dominated. Elena turns out to be Constantine's current companion, though whether she's officially a girlfriend or just the latest in a series is unclear. She's Ukrainian, early 30s, stunning in a red dress that leaves little to imagination. Unlike Natasha's brittle politeness, Elena has sharp intelligence in her eyes. Finally, another woman who isn't terrified to speak. Elena's English is flawless, barely accented. Welcome to the circus, darling. How are you surviving so far? I'm adapting, I say, grateful for someone who at least seems real. Adapting. Such a kind word for trapped but making the best of it. She sips her champagne. Don't worry. The first few weeks are the hardest. Eventually you learn the dance. Who to smile at, who to avoid, how to exist in a room full of predators without becoming prey yourself. Is that what you did? Learn the dance? That's what we all do, sweetness. Some of us just hide it better than others. She glances at Constantine, something unreadable in her expression. The trick is figuring out which predator will protect you from all the others. You've done that already, whether you realize it or not. Before I can ask what she means, a server announces dinner. We move to the formal dining room, a space I glimpsed during Irina's tour but didn't fully appreciate. The table is set for 12 with china so delicate it looks like it might shatter if you breathe on it too hard. Crystal glasses catch candlelight. Flowers arranged in the center probably cost more than a month's rent used to. Dominic pulls out my chair, positions me on his right. Constantine takes the head of the table. The others arrange themselves with careful attention to hierarchy I'm only beginning to understand. The meal is excessive, course after course, each prepared with precision that borders on art. French onion soup, salad with pears and goat cheese, some kind of fish I can't identify but that melts on my tongue. Beef Wellington that the woman across from me, someone's wife whose name I've already forgotten, declares the best she's ever tasted. I eat mechanically, hyper-aware of every conversation happening around me. The men discuss business in code, references to shipments and territories, and problems that need solving. The women mostly stay quiet, contributing only when directly addressed. Elena, seated across from me, catches my eye and rolls hers slightly. A moment of solidarity that makes me feel fractionally less alone. So, Vera. Dmitry Volkov's voice cuts through the general murmur of conversation. Tell us about yourself. What did you study at university? What are your interests? The question seems innocent, but the way he asks it isn't. Everyone at the table stops eating, stops talking, and turns their attention to me. This is the test Dominic warned me about. They want to see if I can handle direct attention without crumbling. I set down my fork carefully, take a sip of water to buy myself a second, and meet Dimitri's gaze. I studied art history at Northwestern, Italian Renaissance specifically, the intersection of patronage and artistic production in 15th century Florence. Art history. He says it like it's a frivolous pursuit. And what does one do with a degree in art history? Originally, I'd hoped to curate, work in a museum or gallery, help people understand the historical and cultural context that shaped artistic movements. I keep my voice steady, professional, like I'm in a job interview rather than being interrogated by a criminal. But circumstances changed, plans adapt. Circumstances. Mikhail leans forward. You mean your father's gambling problem and $3 million in debt? Dominic's hand finds my knee under the table, squeezes once. A reminder that he's here, that I'm not alone in this. I mean, life rarely goes according to plan, I say, refusing to rise to the bait. We make choices based on the information we have at the time. Sometimes those choices work out. Sometimes they require adjustment. Such a philosophical response. Mikhail's smile is sharp. Tell me, do you consider your marriage an adjustment or a sacrifice? Mikhail, Konstantine's voice carries warning. That's enough. I'm simply curious. She's educated, articulate, clearly had other options. Yet she chose to marry Dominic, a man she didn't know, to clear her father's debt. I'm wondering if she sees it as a business transaction or something more. The room has gone completely silent. Even the servers have retreated to the edges, sensing danger. I could deflect, could give some diplomatic non-answer that satisfies no one but offends no one. But something in Mikhail's smug expression makes me want to throw the truth in his face. I see it as survival, I say clearly. My father made terrible decisions that put my family at risk. Mr. Constantine offered a solution that protected everyone I care about. Whether I view my marriage as a transaction or something more isn't anyone's concern but mine and my husband's. But since you asked, I'll tell you what I think. I think this world operates on exactly the same principles as the one I studied. Patronage systems, strategic alliances, marriages arranged for political and financial gain. The Medicis did it. The Borgias did it. Every powerful family in history has done it. You're not revolutionary, Mikhail. You're just the latest iteration of a very old pattern. The silence that follows is absolute. Then Constantine starts laughing. Not polite social laughter, but genuine amusement that crinkles the corners of his eyes. Brilliant. He raises his glass toward me. Absolutely brilliant. She compares us to the Medicis. Dominic, your wife is dangerous, intelligent, educated, and not afraid to speak. I approve. Dominic's hand is still on my knee, but now his thumb traces small circles against the fabric of my dress. Pride, maybe. Or relief that I passed whatever test this was. She is all of those things, Dominic agrees, which is why insulting her intelligence by treating her like a naive child was a mistake. She understands this world better than most people born into it. Mikhail has the grace to look uncomfortable. I meant no disrespect. Yes, you did. Elena's voice is light, amused. But she handled you beautifully. I like her, Constantine. Can we keep her? She's not a pet, Elena. But Constantine is still smiling. Though I admit, I'm impressed. Most people, especially women, brought into this life unwillingly. They either break immediately or learn to be invisible. You, Vera, you fight. Intelligently, carefully, but you fight. That's valuable. Thank you. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or a threat. It's both. Constantine seems to read my confusion. You're smart enough to be useful, which means you're also smart enough to be dangerous if not properly aligned with our interests. But you're married to Dominic, which means your interests are his interests, which means you're family now. We protect family, as long as family protects us in return. The implication is clear. Be loyal or face consequences. Stay useful or become a liability. I understand, I say, because what else can I say? Good. Constantine gestures to the servers. Next course, please. And more wine. We're celebrating, after all. The tension breaks. Conversations resume. But I notice the way people look at me has changed. Not quite respect, but no longer dismissal. I've proven I'm not going to be an easy target. That counts for something in this world. Dominic leans close, his breath warm against my ear. You did well. Better than I expected. Is that a compliment? It's an acknowledgement. You surprised me. Not many people do that. His hand slides from my knee to lace his fingers with mine beneath the table. The Medici's comparison was inspired. Where did that come from? My thesis. And you, actually. What you said at lunch about power structures being universal. I squeeze his hand, surprised by how natural the gesture feels. If I'm going to survive here, I need to understand the patterns. Find the rules underneath the chaos. And have you found the patterns? Some of them. You're all playing a very old game. Territory, loyalty, fear disguised as respect, violence as communication. It's not that different from Renaissance Florence or Imperial Rome. Just modern weapons and better suits. He studies me for a long moment, something shifting in his expression. You're going to be a problem for me, aren't you? What kind of problem? The kind I can't stop thinking about. The kind that makes me want to protect you from my own world, while also wanting to see what you could become within it. He releases my hand to accept a new course from the server. The dangerous kind. Before I can process that admission, Natasha Volkov addresses me from across the table. Do you have siblings, Vera? Family besides your father? A younger brother, Thomas. He's finishing his engineering degree at Berkeley. And he knows about all this? About your marriage? He knows I'm married. He doesn't know the details. I navigate the question carefully. I thought it better not to worry him with complications while he's trying to focus on school. Wise. Natasha's expression is carefully neutral, but I catch something underneath. Sympathy, maybe, or recognition of a fellow survivor. Family is important. Protecting them from our world is the greatest gift we can give. Do you have children? I ask, then immediately regret it when her face closes off completely. No, not anymore. She takes a long drink of wine, and Dimitri's hand comes to rest on her shoulder with surprising gentleness. The only tender gesture I've seen from him all evening. The conversation moves on, but I file away that reaction. Natasha lost a child somehow. In this world, that probably means something violent. Something connected to the business I'm not supposed to ask about. Dessert arrives, an elaborate chocolate creation that's too pretty to eat. I manage a few bites while half listening to Dimitri and Constantine discuss something about shipping routes that's definitely code for something illegal. Elena catches my eye again, mouths boring, and pretends to stab herself with her dessert fork. I fight a smile. Finally, mercifully, the dinner ends. People migrate back to the drawing room for after-dinner drinks and cigars. The men cluster near the fireplace, their voices dropping to business tones. The women drift to the opposite side of the room, a clear division that seems to happen automatically. Elena links her arm through mine. Come, let's get you drunk enough to tolerate the next hour. I thought I wasn't supposed to drink. You're supposed to sip champagne elegantly and look decorative while the men discuss things we're not meant to understand. She procures 2 glasses from a passing server. But between you and me, the only way to survive these evenings is mild intoxication and selective hearing. Natasha joins us, and for the next hour, I learn the art of standing in a room full of dangerous men while appearing completely non-threatening. We talk about nothing fashion, restaurants, the weather while carefully not discussing anything real. But occasionally, when the men think we're not listening, fragments of conversation drift over. References to Brooklyn, someone named Castellano who's causing problems, a shipment that got intercepted, a cop who needs handling. I file it all away, then immediately forget it like Dominic instructed. Not my business, not my problem. Not until it becomes both. At 11, Dominic appears at my side. Ready to go? You've done more than enough for one evening. God, yes. I hand my half-empty champagne glass to Elena. Thank you for making this bearable. Anytime, sweetness. Next week, lunch. Just us girls away from all this testosterone. I glance at Dominic, who nods slightly. I'd like that. We say our goodbyes. Constantine kissing my hand again with that calculated courtesy. Others offering congratulations and thinly veiled assessments. Then finally, blessedly, we're in the corridor, walking back toward the West Wing. You were perfect tonight. Dominic says quietly. Even the Medici's comment, which could have gone badly but didn't. You read the room, adapted to hostility, handled yourself with more grace than most people raised in this world. I'm impressed. I was terrified the entire time. I know, but you didn't let them see it. That's what matters. We reach my door, and he pauses. Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll discuss the things you overheard tonight, why you need to forget them, and how to protect yourself if questioned. Will I be questioned? Probably not, but it's better to be prepared. He lifts his hand as if to touch my face, then drops it. Good night, Vera. Dominic, I call as he turns to leave. Thank you for being there tonight, for the library, for trying to make this bearable. You don't have to thank me for basic decency. In this world, yes, I do. Something flickers in his expression, there and gone. Then he nods once and disappears down the hallway toward his own room. I enter my gilded cage, kick off the expensive shoes that pinched my feet all evening, and sink onto the bed still in the blue dress. I survived my first real test, proved I could navigate dangerous conversations and hostile assessments without crumbling, showed them I'm not just a naive college graduate and over her head. But lying there, I realized something that makes my breath catch. I'm starting to understand this world. The patterns, the power structures, the rules underneath the violence. And understanding is the first step towards something I didn't expect. Adapting, not just surviving, actually learning to exist in this space, to find whatever agency exists within the constraints. The realization should terrify me. Instead, it feels like possibility. Chapter 5, Shifting Ground. 3 weeks pass in a strange rhythm I'm learning to navigate. Mornings in the library, afternoons exploring the grounds with guards I pretend not to notice. Evenings performing the role of devoted wife at dinners and events that blur together. And through it all, Dominic, present in ways I didn't expect. He joins me for breakfast most mornings, reads the newspaper while I sip coffee and pretend this domestic scene is normal. He asks about my day during dinners we share alone, actually listens when I talk about the Renaissance texts I've been reading. He's careful not to touch me beyond what public appearances require, respecting boundaries I haven't explicitly stated, but he seems to understand instinctively. It's disorienting. I'd prepared myself for a captor. Instead, I'm living with someone who feels increasingly like a partner, even though the power dynamic between us remains fundamentally unequal. This morning, I wake to find a note slipped under my door. Dominic's handwriting, precise and controlled. Weather's clear. Thought you might want to visit your brother today. Car leaves at 10 if you're interested. D. My heart leaps. Thomas. I haven't seen him since the wedding, only spoken to him on the phone where every word felt monitored and filtered. The chance to actually see him, even with security hovering, is more than I'd hoped for. I dress quickly in jeans and a sweater, comfortable clothes that feel more like my old self than the designer pieces I've been wearing. At 9:30, I find Dominic in his office, door open, reviewing something on his laptop. Thank you, I say from the doorway, for arranging the visit. He looks up, and something shifts in his expression when he sees me. You look different. More like yourself. Is that allowed? The question comes out sharper than I intend. Or should I change into something more appropriate for Mrs. Russo? You're allowed to be whoever you are, Vera. The performance is only necessary for outsiders. He closes the laptop. Your brother doesn't need to see you in designer armor. He needs to see his sister. The understanding in that statement catches me off guard. Are you coming with us? No. This is your time. I'll send Victor and another guard, but they'll stay out of sight. Thomas doesn't need to know you're being watched. He stands, moves around the desk. There are rules, though. You stay in public spaces. No going back to his dorm room or anywhere isolated. The guards need clear sight lines. In case someone tries to grab me. In case someone tries to grab you, he confirms. It's unlikely, but not impossible. The Castellanos situation is escalating. Until that's resolved, everyone associated with our organization is at elevated risk. Castellano, the name that came up at dinner 3 weeks ago, then in half a dozen conversations since. I don't ask for details, but I'm starting to piece together that he's a problem Constantine needs to solve, probably violently. How long do I have? As long as you want. Tell Victor when you're ready to come home. He reaches out, tucks a strand of hair behind my ear with unexpected gentleness. Enjoy your brother. Don't worry about anything else today. The gesture is casual, almost automatic, like he's done it 1,000 times before. But my skin tingles where his fingers brushed, and I find myself leaning slightly into the touch before I catch myself. His eyes darken. He notices. Of course he notices. I should go, I say, stepping back. Don't want to be late. Vera. He catches my wrist, gentle but firm. We need to talk. Soon. About this. About us. About what's happening between us that neither of us planned for. My pulse quickens. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. His thumb traces the inside of my wrist, right over where my pulse is hammering. But not now. Today is about your brother. We'll talk when you get back. He releases me, and I flee before I can do something stupid like acknowledge that he's right, that something is shifting between us, that I'm starting to feel things I absolutely shouldn't for a man who's still essentially my captor. Victor meets me at the front entrance, along with another guard whose name I don't catch. They're both armed. I can tell by the way their jackets fit, but they're dressed casually enough not to scream mob security. The drive to Berkeley takes 90 minutes. I spend it staring out the window, trying to organize my thoughts. What do I tell Thomas? How much can I reveal with guards listening to every word? How do I balance protecting him from the truth while also not lying so much that he stops trusting me? We meet at a cafe near campus, outdoor seating even though it's chilly. Thomas is already there when we arrive, bouncing his leg nervously, and when he sees me, his entire face lights up. Vera! He's out of his seat and hugging me before I can prepare, and I have to bite back a gasp because he squeezes my ribs where they were fractured. Healed now, but still sensitive sometimes. Hey, Tommy. I hug him back, fighting tears I didn't know were coming. You look good. Have you been eating? Have you? He pulls back, studies my face with the intensity only siblings can manage. You've lost weight, and you look tired. Are you really okay? We sit, and I'm hyper-aware of Victor positioned 2 tables away, close enough to intervene if needed, but far enough to pretend he's just another cafe patron. I'm okay. It's just been an adjustment. New house, new people, new routine. I order coffee when the server appears, needing something to do with my hands. Tell me about school. How are your classes? Classes are fine. I'm passing everything. Doing well, actually. But he's not here to talk about thermodynamics. Vera, what's really going on? Dad won't tell me anything except that you're married and everything's fine. But you look like you haven't slept in weeks. I'm adjusting, I repeat. It's complicated, Tommy. But I'm safe. Dominic is actually decent. Better than I expected. Decent. He latches onto the word. That's a pretty low bar. Is he good to you? Does he treat you well? I think about the library stocked with books. The freedom to move around the estate. The way Dominic respects my space even when I can see the effort it costs him. The note this morning arranging this visit without me having to ask. He treats me well, I say honestly. This isn't a love match, Tommy. It's a business arrangement. But he's not cruel. He's not violent toward me. He's giving me space to adapt at my own pace. But you're trapped there. Yes. No point lying about that. I'm trapped there. But it's a comfortable cage, and more importantly, you're safe. Dad's safe. That's what matters. Thomas runs his hands through his hair, frustrated. This is insane. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your life because Dad is an idiot who couldn't stop gambling. Dad made mistakes. I made choices based on those mistakes. That's how family works. I reach across the table, squeeze his hand. I need you to focus on school. Graduate with honors. Build the life you want. Don't let guilt about me derail your future. How am I supposed to just focus on school knowing you're stuck in some arranged marriage with a criminal? The same way I'm surviving every day. You find small things to focus on, small victories. You adapt. I pull back when the server brings our coffee. Tell me about your classes, your friends, the girl you mentioned last time we talked. Sarah? He lets me change the subject, and for the next hour, we talk about normal things. His engineering projects, campus drama, his roommate who apparently never does dishes. I soak in every detail, hungry for glimpses of the normal world I left behind. Eventually, he asks, "Can I visit you? See where you're living?" I hesitate. The thought of Thomas in that house, surrounded by armed guards and dangerous men, makes my stomach turn. Maybe eventually. Right now, it's complicated. There's a security situation. Once things settle, I'll ask if you can come. A security situation? He says it flatly. You mean people might try to hurt you? People might try to use me to hurt Dominic. It's not the same thing. Though the distinction probably doesn't matter much to Thomas. I'm protected. Constantly. There are guards everywhere. I'm probably safer than I've ever been, ironically. That's not comforting, Vera. I know. But it's true. I check the time. Realize we've been here for almost 2 hours. Victor hasn't moved, hasn't signaled that we need to leave, but I know I should probably wrap this up. I need to get back soon. But we can do this again. Next weekend if you want, or we can video chat during the week. Video chat that's monitored by your husband's security team. Yes, but still better than nothing. We stand, and he hugs me again, this time more carefully. I love you. Even when you're being stupidly self-sacrificing. You know that, right? I know. I squeeze him tight. I love you too. Stay safe. Focus on school. And Tommy? If anyone approaches you asking questions about me or Dad or Dominic, you don't know anything. You tell them to contact Dominic directly, and then you call me immediately. Understand? His face goes pale. You think someone might approach me? I think it's better to be prepared, just in case. I soften my tone. It's probably nothing, but if it happens, I need you to promise you'll do exactly what I said. I promise. We separate, and I watch him walk back toward campus until he disappears around a corner. Only then do I turn to Victor. I'm ready to go back. The drive home is quiet. I stare out the window, processing the visit. Thomas looked good, healthy, happy even, despite his worry about me. That's what matters. That's what I did this for. But seeing him also reminded me of everything I've lost. The freedom to meet my brother for coffee without armed guards monitoring the conversation. The ability to hug him without calculating how much information I can safely share. The life I had before my father's mistakes changed everything. We're 20 minutes from the estate when Victor's phone rings. He answers in Russian, his tone shifting from neutral to urgent. I catch enough to know something's wrong. He ends the call and immediately dials another number. We have a tail. Black sedan, 3 cars back, confirm. My blood runs cold. Someone's following us. What's happening? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. Nothing you need to worry about, Mrs. Russo. We're taking precautions. But his hand moves to his jacket, to where I know his gun is holstered. The second guard in the front passenger seat turns to check the side mirror. Still there, matching our speed. Lose them or engage? Victor asks into the phone. A pause. Understood. Prepare for evasive. Victor. I lean forward. What's happening? Someone's following us. Could be nothing. Could be Castellano testing our response times. Either way, we're not leading them back to the estate. He meets my eyes in the rearview mirror. Put your seatbelt on. Keep your head down. We're about to take some creative turns. My hands shake as I buckle the seatbelt, and suddenly the peaceful visit with Thomas feels like a lifetime ago. This is the reality of my life now. Armed guards and car chases and constant danger lurking at the edges of every normal moment. Victor makes a sharp right turn without signaling, cutting through a residential neighborhood. The sedan follows. He accelerates, takes another turn, this one even sharper. I brace myself against the door. "Still with us," the front guard reports. "Call it in. We need backup at the north entrance." Victor's voice is calm, professional, like high-speed pursuits through suburban streets are just another Tuesday. "Mrs. Russo, I need you to stay down. If they try to box us in, you don't get out of the car for any reason. Understand?" Yes, the word comes out as a whisper. He makes 3 more turns in quick succession, and I lose track of where we are. The sedan stays with us, closer now, and I can see through the back window that there are at least 3 men inside. Then Victor's phone rings again. He listens, nods once. "We have intercept. 2 minutes." Sure enough, as we approach an intersection, 2 black SUVs appear from side streets, positioning themselves behind us. Our cars, I realize. Dominic's people responding to the threat. The sedan must see them too, because it suddenly breaks off, making a hard left and disappearing down a side street. Our backup vehicles follow while Victor continues toward the estate, his speed decreasing to something closer to legal. "Threat neutralized," he says into the phone. "Returning home." I sit up slowly, my entire body shaking with adrenaline I don't know what to do with. Are they going to catch them? Probably, if not catch, at least identify. We'll know who sent them within the hour. He glances at me in the mirror. "Are you hurt?" "No, just scared." "Good. Fear keeps you alert. But you did well. Stayed calm, followed instructions. Mr. Russo will be pleased." I almost laugh. Pleased. Like I just passed some kind of test instead of nearly being kidnapped or killed or whatever those men had planned. We reach the estate gates, which open immediately. Guards are positioned everywhere, more than usual. And as we pull up to the main entrance, I see Dominic standing there, phone pressed to his ear, his entire body radiating tension. He ends the call the moment the car stops and has my door open before I can reach for the handle. "Are you hurt?" His hands frame my face, tilting it to examine me for injuries I don't have. "Did they get close to you? Did anyone touch you?" "I'm fine. Victor handled it. We had a tail, but your backup people intercepted before anything happened." He pulls me against him, one hand cradling the back of my head, the other wrapped around my waist. The embrace is fierce, almost desperate, and I feel his heart hammering against my cheek. "I shouldn't have let you go without me," he says into my hair. "I should have known Castellano would make a move today." "You couldn't have known." I pull back enough to see his face, and nothing happened. I'm fine. This time, his jaw is tight, fury barely controlled. "Next time, you don't leave this property without me. Not until the Castellano situation is resolved. Understood?" "Dominic, understood?" Harder now, not a request. "Yes, understood." He exhales slowly, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. Then he seems to realize we're still standing in the driveway with guards watching, and steps back, creating professional distance. "Come inside. We need to debrief." I follow him through corridors I'm starting to know by heart, into his office where Constantine is already waiting. The older man's face is thunderous. "She's unharmed?" Constantine demands. "Completely." Dominic gestures for me to sit. I do, mostly because my legs are still shaking. Victor did exactly what he was supposed to. Called for backup, evaded the tail, got her home safely. This is unacceptable. Constantine paces like a caged predator. "They followed your wife in broad daylight. This is a message. Castellano is saying he can reach us anywhere." Then we send a clearer message back. Dominic's voice is cold, deadly. "We find everyone involved in today's operation, and we make examples of them. Public, unmistakable. He wants to escalate? We show him what escalation actually looks like." "Agreed. I want names by tonight, locations by tomorrow. This ends now." Constantine finally looks at me. "Vera, I apologize. This should not have happened. You were supposed to be under our protection. I was under protection. Your people responded perfectly. I'm fine. You're shaken. That's not fine. He exchanges a glance with Dominic. Until this is handled, she doesn't leave the estate. No exceptions. Already established, Dominic confirms. They continue discussing security measures and response strategies, their voices blending into background noise. I sit there, processing what just happened. Someone followed me. Tried to what? Kidnap me? Kill me? Send a message by putting me in danger? The reality of my situation crashes down harder than ever before. This isn't theoretical danger. This is men in cars actually trying to harm me because of who I'm married to. Eventually, Constantine leaves. Dominic closes the door behind him and turns to me. You're really okay? His voice is softer now, the deadly edge gone. I don't know. Honest, because I'm too shaken to lie. I thought I understood what I'd signed up for. But having it actually happen, being followed, watching Victor reach for his gun, I wasn't prepared for how real it felt. He crosses to me, kneels so we're eye level. This is the reality of my world. Constant danger, constant calculation, always watching for threats. And now you're in it because of me. Because Constantine arranged this marriage. Because your father's debt put you in my path. You sound guilty. I am guilty. You didn't choose this. You were forced into it. And now you're a target because someone wants to hurt me through you. His hands find mine, grip tight. I won't let them. Whatever it takes, whoever I have to eliminate, you're protected. Always. The vehemence in his voice, the absolute certainty, should probably frighten me. Instead, I find it oddly comforting. Dominic is dangerous, yes. But that danger is directed outward, at threats to what he's claimed as his. And somewhere along the way, without either of us really planning it, I've become his. Not just in the legal sense. In the way he looks at me. The way he touches me with careful reverence. The way he just held me in the driveway like he couldn't bear the thought of me being hurt. We need to talk, I say, echoing his words from this morning. About what's happening between us. Yes, we do. He stands, pulls me to my feet. But first, you need to rest. Process what happened today. Decompress. Tonight after dinner, we'll talk. About everything. Promise? Promise. He lifts my hand, presses a kiss to my knuckles. The gesture is old-fashioned, courtly, completely at odds with everything else about him. Go. Rest. I'll have dinner sent to your room. Tonight we talk honestly about what this is becoming. I leave him there, walk to my room on legs that are steadier than they were, and realize something that makes my breath catch. I'm not just adapting anymore. I'm starting to care about Dominic, about this dangerous world, about what we might be building despite every reason not to. And that's more terrifying than any car chase could ever be. Chapter 6, Breaking Point. I don't rest. Instead, I pace my room like a caged animal, replaying the car chase, the fear, Dominic's desperate embrace, the way his voice broke when he said he was guilty for putting me in danger. Dinner arrives on a tray, but I barely touch it. My stomach is too twisted with anticipation for what's coming tonight. The conversation we've been avoiding for weeks. The acknowledgement of whatever's building between us. Dangerous and inevitable. At 8 o'clock, there's a knock at my door. Not Dominic's usual confident rap, but something softer, almost hesitant. Come in, I call. He enters. And I've never seen him like this. No suit jacket, just a white shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. Hair slightly disheveled like he's been running his hands through it. Dark circles under his eyes that suggest he hasn't slept well in days. Hi, he says, which is so unlike his usual controlled greetings that I almost smile. Hi. We stand there for a moment, the air between us charged with everything unspoken. Then he gestures toward the sitting area near the windows. Can we talk? I nod, settle into one of the chairs. He takes the other, but instead of his usual confident posture, he leans forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. Nervous. Dominic Russo is actually nervous. I don't know how to start this, he admits. I'm good at negotiations, at intimidation, at reading people in business contexts. But this? Talking about feelings like a normal person having a normal relationship? I'm terrible at it. We're not having a normal relationship. No, we're not. He looks up, meets my eyes. But it's becoming something. You feel it too. I know you do. Yes. No point denying it. I feel it. I don't know what to do with it. Neither do I. He runs a hand through his hair, the gesture so uncharacteristically uncertain that something in my chest tightens. 3 weeks ago, you were an obligation. A wife I had to take because Constantine ordered it. A complication I needed to manage. Now I can't stop thinking about you. About whether you're comfortable, whether you're happy, whether you're safe. When Victor called today to say you had a tail, I lost 10 years off my life. The thought of someone hurting you, using you to hurt me. He stops, jaw clenched. It made me realize this stopped being about obligation weeks ago. My heart pounds so hard I'm sure he can hear it. What is it about then? You. Just you. He stands abruptly, moves to the windows, stares out at darkness. You're smart, adaptable, stronger than you realize. You stood up to Mikhail with Renaissance history and made him look like an idiot. You handle Constantine's dinners with more grace than people raised in this world. You protect your brother while navigating an impossible situation, and you do it all while looking at me like I might be redeemable. Are you redeemable? Probably not. I've done things that would horrify you if you knew the details. Hurt people, killed people, followed orders that required me to become someone I sometimes don't recognize in the mirror. He turns to face me. But when I'm with you, I remember there's something besides violence and obligation. Something that feels almost like hope. The raw honesty in his voice breaks something open inside me. I stand, cross to where he's standing, and for the first time, I'm the one who initiates touch. My hand finds his, laces our fingers together. I'm not asking you to be someone you're not, I say quietly. I know what you are, what you do. I'm not naive enough to think you're going to suddenly become a good man because we're having feelings. But Dominic, I need to know, is this real? Or is it just proximity and circumstance making us feel things that aren't actually there? It's real. No hesitation. I've lived in this house with other women, obligations from previous arrangements that fell through. I've spent years surrounded by people and felt nothing. This isn't proximity. This is you. Specifically, you. The other arrangements that fell through. What happened to those women? His jaw tightens. One decided she'd rather go to the police than marry me. Constantine had her family relocated as a warning. She got the message. Another tried to run 3 days before the wedding. We found her. She chose prison over marriage when we offered her the choice. The third... He stops, something dark crossing his face. What happened to the third? She said yes, went through with the wedding, then tried to poison me 6 weeks later. He says it so matter-of-factly that it takes me a moment to process. Turned out she was working with a rival family, thought she could get close enough to eliminate me and destabilize Constantine's organization. She was wrong. What did you do to her? I didn't do anything. Constantine handled it. I don't know the details, and I don't want to. He squeezes my hand. But that's why, when you showed up at the cathedral looking terrified but determined, when you didn't try to run or poison me or betray me, I started paying attention. You're surviving with integrity. That's rare in my world. I'm surviving because I don't have a choice. You have choices. Bad ones, limited ones, but choices. You could have gone to the police despite the consequences. Could have tried to run. Could have made yourself so difficult that I'd have had to escalate security to prison level just to contain you. His free hand comes up to cup my face. Instead, you're learning the patterns, adapting intelligently, building something resembling a life within impossible constraints. That takes strength most people don't have. His touch sends warmth through me, pooling low in my stomach. We're standing so close I can feel the heat radiating off him. Smell cedar, and something uniquely him that I'm starting to associate with safety, despite every logical reason not to. I don't know how to do this, I admit. Be married to you for real instead of just for appearances. Navigate feelings while still being essentially your prisoner. Want you while also resenting the circumstances that put me here. Then we figure it out together. His thumb traces my cheekbone, the gesture achingly gentle. No more pretending this is just an arrangement. No more keeping distance because we think we're supposed to. We acknowledge what's happening and we see where it goes. And if it goes nowhere, if this is just Stockholm Syndrome and proximity, then we deal with that when it happens. But Vera, I don't think it's Stockholm Syndrome when you look at me like you're doing right now. Like you want me as much as I want you. How am I looking at you? Like you're deciding whether to kiss me or slap me. His lips quirk in that almost smile I'm learning to recognize. For the record, I'd take either, but I'm hoping for the first one. I should step back, should maintain boundaries, protect myself from getting more tangled up with a man who's still fundamentally dangerous, should remember that he's a killer who follows orders from someone even more dangerous. Instead, I rise on my toes and kiss him. It's nothing like the calculated kiss at our wedding. This is exploration, question and answer. Heat building between us with shocking speed. His hands frame my face, holding me like I'm precious, breakable, and I grip his shirt to keep from melting completely. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. I've wanted to do that for 2 weeks, he murmurs. Every time you walked into a room, every time you laughed at something Elena said, every time you looked at me like I was more than just your captor. I've been going insane wanting to touch you. Why didn't you? Because I promised I wouldn't force you. Because I needed you to come to me, choose me, want this as much as I do. He pulls back enough to see my face. Do you? Want this? Yes. The admission feels like stepping off a cliff. I shouldn't. It's completely insane. But I want you. Want this. Whatever this is. He kisses me again, deeper this time, and I feel the restraint in him cracking. His hands move to my waist, pull me flush against him, and I realize he's been holding back for weeks. All that careful distance, that respectful space, it's been costing him. Tell me to stop, he says against my mouth. Tell me this is too fast and I'll stop. Don't stop. That's all the permission he needs. He walks me backward toward the bed, never breaking the kiss, and we tumble onto it in a tangle of limbs. His weight settles over me, careful not to crush, and I wrap my legs around his waist instinctively. Are you sure? He's breathing hard, eyes dark with want. Once we cross this line, Vera, there's no going back to polite distance. You'll be mine in every way, not just legally. I think I've been yours for longer than either of us realized. I pull him down, kiss him hard. Stop overthinking and touch me. He does. His hands map my body with reverence and hunger, learning what makes me gasp, what makes me arch into him. I explore the muscles I've glimpsed under expensive suits, trace scars that tell stories I don't yet know. When he finally strips away the last barriers between us, when we're skin to skin and breathing the same air, it feels less like surrender and more like claiming each other. Look at me, he demands, and I do. Meet those slate-gray eyes that have watched me from the first day. This is real. Not obligation, not arrangement. Real. Say you understand. I understand. And I do. Whatever this is, however it started, it's become something neither of us planned but both of us need. When we finally come together, it's with an intensity that steals my breath. He moves with careful control at first, watching my face for any sign of pain or hesitation. But I pull him deeper, tell him without words that I can take everything he's giving, and something in him breaks loose. We move together with desperate need, weeks of tension and unspoken want finally finding release. He says my name like a prayer, like a curse, like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. And in this moment, in this bed, maybe I am. After, we lie tangled together, both catching our breath. His hand traces patterns on my hip, absent-minded and possessive. "No regrets?" he asks quietly. "No regrets." I turn to face him. "Should I have some?" "Probably. You just slept with a killer, Vera. A man who does terrible things to maintain power. Most people would feel guilty. I'm not most people. And honestly, right now, I don't care what you do when you leave this room. Right now, you're just mine." Something shifts in his expression, softness I've never seen before. "Say that again." "You're mine." He kisses me slow and deep. "Yes, I am. God help us both, but I am." We stay like that, wrapped around each other, until his phone buzzes on the nightstand. He reaches for it with obvious reluctance, reads the message, and his entire body tenses. "What is it?" "They found the men who followed you today. 3 of them. Castellanos people, as expected." He sits up, already shifting back into business mode. "They're in the warehouse. Constantine wants me there for questioning." Questioning. I know that's code for torture, for violence that will end with those men dead or wishing they were. "Yes." He looks at me, something like regret in his eyes. "This is what I am, Vera. This is the part that happens after what we just did. I go hurt people who threatened you. I make examples of them. I become the monster you're trying not to see. I could pretend I don't know what that means. Could maintain some illusion that he's not really as dangerous as everyone says. But I know better. I've always known better." "Then go be a monster," I say quietly. "Do what you have to do. I'll still be here when you get back." He studies my face like he's trying to memorize it. Then he kisses me once more, hard and possessive, and gets dressed in movements that are pure efficiency. At the door, he pauses. "Lock this behind me. Don't open it for anyone except me or Irina, not until I get back." "Dominic." "Please, Vera. Just this once, don't argue. I need to know you're safe while I'm handling this." "Okay, I'll lock the door." He nods, and then he's gone. I hear his footsteps fade down the hallway, and I do as he asked, engage the lock. Then I sink onto the bed, pull the sheets around me that still smell like him, and process what just happened. I slept with Dominic Russo. Gave myself to him completely, not out of obligation or fear, but because I wanted to. Because whatever's building between us has become too powerful to ignore, and now he's gone to torture and kill the men who threatened me. Both things are true simultaneously. The man who just made love to me with heartbreaking tenderness is the same man who's going to brutally interrogate 3 people before killing them. I should be horrified, should feel guilty for sleeping with someone capable of such violence. Instead, I feel protected, safe, like I've chosen my monster and he's chosen me back. And together we're building something that defies every moral boundary I used to think mattered. The clock reads 11. I don't know when he'll be back. Hours, probably. Maybe not until morning. So I settle into the bed, surrounded by evidence of what we just did, and wait for my husband to come home from killing people who threatened me. And I realize with crystal clarity that I've crossed a line I can never uncross. I'm not just adapting to this world anymore. I'm becoming part of it. Chapter 7. Consequences. I don't sleep. Can't sleep. I lie in bed watching the clock tick toward midnight, then past it, into the early morning hours. Every sound makes me tense, wondering if it's Dominic returning or something worse. At 3:47 a.m., I hear footsteps in the hallway, slow, heavy, exhausted. They pause at my door, and for a long moment, nothing happens. Then a quiet knock. "Vera, it's me." I'm out of bed before I consciously decide to move, unlocking the door, pulling it open. Dominic stands there, and the sight of him makes my breath catch. Blood spatters his white shirt. Not his blood. I can tell by the way he's standing, by the fact that he's upright and coherent. Someone else's blood. Multiple someones, judging by the amount. His eyes are dark, haunted, carrying the weight of whatever he just did. But when they land on me, something shifts. Relief, maybe. Or need. "Can I come in?" His voice is rough, scraped raw. I step back, let him enter, close and lock the door behind him. We stand there in the dim light from the bedside lamp, and I don't know what to say. How to bridge the gap between the man who made love to me hours ago and the one who just tortured 3 people to death. "You should shower," I say finally. "Get cleaned up." He nods, moves toward the bathroom like he's on autopilot. I follow, turn on the water, adjust the temperature. He strips mechanically, and I catch glimpses of more blood, bruises forming on his knuckles, a cut across his forearm that's already been bandaged. Did they fight back? One of them tried. He steps under the spray, closes his eyes as water turns pink, running down the drain. Didn't end well for him. I should leave him alone, give him privacy to wash away the evidence. Instead, I strip off my pajamas and step into the shower behind him. His entire body goes rigid when my arms wrap around his waist, my cheek pressing against his back. "Vera, you don't have to—" "I know, I want to." He turns in my arms and his face is raw with emotions I've never seen him show before. Exhaustion, guilt, something that might be shame, though he'd probably never admit it. "I killed them," he says flatly. "All 3. Got the information Constantine needed, then made sure they'd never threaten anyone again. It wasn't clean, wasn't quick. It was brutal and ugly and exactly what they deserved for following you." Okay. "Okay?" He searches my face. "That's all you have to say? I just tortured 3 people to death and you say okay? What do you want me to say, Dominic? That I'm horrified? That I didn't know who I married?" I reach up, cup his face with both hands. "I knew. I've always known. You're a killer. You do terrible things to maintain power and protect what's yours. That hasn't changed. What changed is that now I'm yours, and those men threatened me. So yes. Okay." He stares at me for a long moment, water cascading over both of us, and I see the exact moment something breaks inside him. He pulls me against him, kisses me with desperate need, and I taste blood and water and something darker. We make love again, against the shower wall, with none of the careful tenderness of earlier. This is raw, primal, him needing to prove he's still human after doing inhuman things. And I give him that. Let him lose himself in me, in us, in the twisted thing we're becoming together. After he washes the blood away properly, lets me help him clean spots he can't reach. We don't talk. Words feel unnecessary right now. When we're finally clean and dry, when he's in borrowed sleep pants and I'm back in pajamas, we collapse into bed together. He pulls me against him, face buried in my hair, and I feel him shaking. "I'm not a good man," he whispers. "You should hate me for what I am." Probably, but I don't. I turn to face him. "I'm not going to pretend you're something you're not, Dominic. You're exactly what you've always been. I'm just choosing to stay anyway." "Why?" "Because in this impossible situation, you're the only thing that feels real. Because you protect me, even when it costs you. Because underneath all the violence and control, you're trying to give me whatever freedom exists within these walls." I press my hand over his heart, feel it beating steady and strong. Because I've fallen for you, and I'm too far gone to pretend otherwise. His hand covers mine, holds it there. I've never felt this way before. Never wanted to protect someone more than the organization. Never cared if someone saw the worst parts of me and stayed anyway. You're changing me, Vera. Making me want things I can't have. Like what? like a normal life, like the ability to take you on a date without armed guards, like introducing you to people as my wife instead of as leverage, like waking up every morning without calculating who might try to hurt you to hurt me. We can't have that, but we can have this. I gesture between us. Whatever this is, however complicated and morally questionable, we can have this. He kisses me, soft and lingering. Then I'll take it. Take you. Build whatever life we can within these constraints. We fall asleep tangled together, and for the first time since this nightmare began, I sleep deeply, dreamlessly, protected by the monster I've chosen. Morning comes too early. I wake to find Dominic already gone, his side of the bed cool. A note on the pillow, his precise handwriting. Meeting with Constantine at 8. Stay in the West Wing today. Things are moving with Castellano. D. I check the time. Nearly 9. Whatever meeting he's in has been going for an hour already. I shower, dress in jeans and a sweater that's comfortable enough to fight in if necessary. The thought comes automatically now, constantly assessing whether my clothes allow for quick movement. That's new. That's adaptation. Irina finds me in the library, brings coffee and pastries I don't remember requesting. Mr. Russo asked me to check on you, she says, arranging the breakfast on the table beside my chair. He wants to make sure you eat. I'm fine, Irina, thank you. She hesitates, which is unlike her. Usually she's all efficiency, no sentiment. May I speak frankly, Mrs. Russo? Of course. The household staff has noticed changes, in both you and Mr. Russo. The way he looks at you now, the way you move through the house with more confidence. Whatever is happening between you, it's good for him. He's been alone too long, hardened himself too much. You're softening edges he forgot he had. The observation catches me off guard. You think I'm good for him? I think you're surviving with grace. That's rare. Most women in your position either break or become hard. You're becoming strong instead. There's a difference. She moves toward the door. He cares for you, Mrs. Russo. More than he's cared for anyone in a very long time. That makes you valuable. But it also makes you vulnerable. Be careful. She leaves before I can ask what she means by that warning. I spend the morning reading, trying to lose myself in Renaissance politics while trying not to think about what's happening in Constantine's meetings. What plans are being made? What violence is being prepared? At noon, Elena appears at the library door, and I'm surprised enough to close my book. Constantine is busy with your husband, she says by way of greeting. Thought you might want company for lunch, unless you prefer solitude. Company sounds good, actually. I stand, follow her through corridors toward what she calls the women's dining room, a smaller space I didn't know existed. Natasha is already there, picking at a salad with the careful movements of someone who's learned to survive on minimal calories. She looks up when we enter, and something flickers in her expression. Vera, how are you holding up after yesterday? I'm fine, shaken, but fine. I take the seat Elena indicates. Dominic's people handled it well. Dominic's people. Elena pours wine for all three of us. Interesting phrasing. Usually new wives say the guards or security. You're already thinking in terms of loyalty structures. I'm learning the language, I say carefully. You're doing more than learning. Natasha's eyes are sharp despite her fragile appearance. You're adapting, becoming one of us faster than most. Be careful, Vera. That adaptation comes with prices you might not be ready to pay. What kind of prices? The two women exchange glances. Then Elena leans forward, voice dropping low enough that the servers can't hear. Knowledge you can't unknow. Complicity you can't escape. The moment you stop being an innocent victim and start being an active participant, everything changes. The law sees you differently. Your conscience sees you differently. You see yourself differently. I'm already complicit, I say. I married into this. I benefit from the violence that maintains it. Pretending otherwise is just lying to myself. Most women take years to reach that conclusion. Natasha sips her wine. You've been here less than a month. That's either impressive adaptability or dangerous naivety. Maybe both. I meet her eyes. How long did it take you? 6 months. I spent the first 3 crying every night. The next 3 planning escapes that would never work. By month 6, I accepted that this was my life, and I could either drown or learn to swim in dark waters. She sets down her glass. I chose to swim. But some days I still wonder if drowning would have been kinder. The bleakness in her tone makes my chest tight. Do you regret it? Choosing to swim? Every day. And not at all. She picks up her fork, returns to her salad. That's the thing they don't tell you about survival. It doesn't feel like victory. It just feels like endurance. We eat in heavy silence until Elena deliberately shifts the mood. So, the rumor mill is quite active this morning. Want to know what they're saying about you and Dominic? Do I have a choice? Not really. She grins. Apparently Dominic had someone's throat in his hand during the interrogation last night, and when his phone buzzed with a message from you asking if he was okay, he actually paused to respond. In the middle of torture. That's unprecedented. My stomach flips. I didn't text him. Then maybe he just imagined it because he was thinking about you. Elena's smile softens. Either way, the guards are talking. Dominic Russo, ice-cold enforcer, distracted during interrogation because he's worried about his wife. That's a liability some people will try to exploit. Let them try. Natasha's voice is hard. She's under Constantine's protection now. Anyone who touches her answers to both Constantine and Dominic. That's suicide. Unless Castellano decides she's worth the risk, Elena counters, which, given yesterday's attempt, he might. A chill runs down my spine. What exactly is happening with Castellano? You don't want to know, Natasha says. Yes, I do. I'm tired of being protected from information that directly affects my safety. They exchange another look, then Elena sighs. Fine. But you didn't hear this from us. Castellano runs the Italian families on the south side. He's been expanding aggressively, stepping on Constantine's toes, testing boundaries. The attempt on you yesterday wasn't random. It was a message. Your people aren't safe anywhere. So what's the response? Dominic and Constantine are planning something big. Major offensive, multiple targets, designed to cripple Castellano's operation in one night. It's scheduled for this weekend. Elena lowers her voice even further. If it works, Constantine's territory doubles. If it fails, we're looking at open war. The weight of that information settles over me like a shroud. Dominic is planning a major operation. This weekend. Something that could start a war. And he didn't tell me. Does this happen often? Major operations like this? Every few years? When someone gets too aggressive, too confident, Constantine has to remind everyone why he's in charge. Natasha's expression is carefully neutral. The last one was 3 years ago. 17 people died in one night. Constantine's people didn't lose anyone. The other side wasn't so lucky. 17 people. And they're planning something similar for this weekend. I push my barely touched lunch away, suddenly nauseous. I should go. Thank you for the information. Vera. Elena catches my wrist. Don't confront Dominic about this. He didn't tell you for a reason. If Constantine finds out we discussed business with you, I won't say anything, I promise. I pull free gently. I just need to process. I leave them there, make my way back to the library on autopilot. My sanctuary, my safe space, suddenly feels inadequate. How am I supposed to read about 15th century politics when 21st century violence is being planned under the same roof? I'm staring out the window, watching guards patrol the grounds, when Dominic finds me an hour later. There you are. He sounds tired but relieved. I've been looking for you. We need to talk. About the major offensive you're planning for this weekend? The words come out sharper than I intend. He goes very still. Who told you about that? Does it matter? It's true, isn't it? You're planning something big, something that could start a war, and you weren't going to tell me. No, I wasn't. He closes the distance between us. Because you don't need to know the details. Because the less you know, the safer you are if anything goes wrong. I'm already not safe, Dominic. Someone followed me yesterday. They know who I am, where I live, that hurting me hurts you. Pretending I'm not involved doesn't actually protect me. It protects you legally. His voice is hard. It keeps you separate from operations that could put you in prison if they go wrong. I'm trying to shield you. I don't want to be shielded. I want to know what I'm walking into. I want to understand the risks so I can prepare, not just sit in ignorance hoping nothing bad happens. We stare at each other, tension crackling between us. Then he exhales slowly. You're right. You deserve to know. He runs a hand through his hair. This weekend, we're hitting 5 of Castellano's locations simultaneously. Gambling operations, drug distribution, weapons storage, his legitimate businesses that front the illegal ones. We're dismantling his infrastructure in one coordinated strike. And if it goes wrong? Then Castellano retaliates, probably goes after Constantine's businesses, possibly escalates to targeting families. It becomes open war instead of calculated aggression. And where will you be during all this? His jaw tightens. Leading one of the teams, the warehouse district operation. It's the most dangerous, which is why I'm handling it personally. Something cold settles in my stomach. You're going into active combat. You could be killed. I've done this before, many times. I know how to handle myself. That doesn't mean you're invincible. My voice cracks despite my attempt to stay calm. What happens to me if you die? Do I become Constantine's problem? Get passed to someone else? What's the protocol when a wife's husband gets killed in a mob war? You're under Constantine's protection regardless. He'd make sure you're taken care of. I don't want Constantine's protection. I want you. The admission bursts out before I can stop it. I don't care about protocols or arrangements. I care about you coming home alive from whatever suicide mission you're planning. He stares at me, something shifting in his expression. Then he crosses the space between us in 2 strides and kisses me hard. I'll come home, he says against my mouth. I promise. I'll come home to you. You can't promise that, not in this. Watch me. He pulls back, frames my face with both hands. I've survived worse than Castellano. Survived Sarajevo. Survived internal purges. Survived 3 assassination attempts. I'm not dying this weekend because I have something worth coming home to now. Dominic, I love you. The words fall between us like bombs. I know it's too soon. I know it's complicated. But I love you. And that means I'm not taking stupid risks. I'm coming home. I can't breathe, can't think. He just said he loves me. Say something, he murmurs. I love you too. And I do. Despite everything, despite every logical reason not to. I love this dangerous man who kills people and plans wars and is willing to die for territory. Which is why you need to be careful. Come home. Promise me. I promise. He kisses me again, and I taste desperation underneath the desire. He's afraid. Actually afraid. Maybe for the first time since I've known him. We make love right there in the library, urgent and intense, like we're trying to memorize each other in case this is the last time. And when it's over, when we're tangled together on the floor between bookshelves, I make him promise again. I promise, he whispers, I'll come home to you, always. I want to believe him, but in this world, promises are fragile things that break under the weight of violence. And this weekend everything could change. Chapter 8. Into the Fire. The 2 days before the operation pass like years. Dominic is consumed with planning, meetings that stretch into early morning hours, phone calls in Russian and Italian that I don't understand but recognize as strategy. He comes to bed late, leaves early, but always finds time to kiss me, hold me, remind me of his promise. I'm coming home, he says each time, like a mantra. Like if he repeats it enough, it'll become inevitable truth. Friday night, he doesn't come to bed at all. I find him at dawn in his office, surrounded by maps and photographs and weapons laid out on his desk with careful precision. "You should be resting," I say from the doorway. He looks up, and the exhaustion in his face makes my chest ache. Can't sleep, keeps running scenarios, looking for weak points. I cross to him, turn his chair so he faces me, and settle onto his lap. His arms come around me automatically, and I feel some of the tension leave his shoulders. "Talk me through it," I say. "The plan. I want to understand." He hesitates, then nods. 5 teams, 5 locations. We hit at midnight when security is thinnest but operations are still active. Maximum disruption, minimum casualties on our side. I'm taking the warehouse because it's the most heavily defended. If Castellano's going to be anywhere, it's there. And if he is, then I eliminate the problem permanently. No hesitation. This is what he does. Constantine wants him alive for questioning if possible, but dead works too. "How many people will you have with you?" 8. Best operators we have. Franco will lead the team hitting the gambling operation in the south side. Dmitri takes the drug warehouse. The other 2 teams are smaller, less critical targets. I trace the maps on his desk, see the arrows indicating entry points, escape routes, backup positions. Military precision applied to criminal enterprise. "What do you need from me?" I ask. He goes still. "What?" "You heard me. What do you need from me tonight? How can I help?" "Vera, you're not—" "I'm not going with you. I know that. But there must be something. Some way I can be useful instead of just sitting here terrified." He studies my face for a long moment. Then he pulls out his phone, shows me a number. "This is Franco's direct line. If something goes wrong, if you don't hear from me by 2 a.m., you call him. Not Constantine. Franco. He'll tell you the truth about what happened." I memorize the number. What else? "Stay in the West Wing. Don't open the door for anyone except Irina or my mother. Not Victor, not guards you recognize. No one. If someone tries to force entry, there's a panic button under your nightstand. It alerts the entire security team and locks down your room from the inside. You think Castellano might send people here while you're attacking his locations? I think he's unpredictable and desperate men do stupid things." He cups my face with both hands. "Promise me you'll stay safe. That's what I need from you. Stay safe so I have something to come home to." I promise. I kiss him, trying to memorize the taste of him, the feel of his hands on my skin. "Come home to me." Always. The day crawls by. Dominic disappears after breakfast for final preparations. I spend hours in the library, unable to focus on reading, watching the clock tick toward midnight. Elena visits briefly, brings wine I don't drink, leaves when she realizes I need solitude more than company. At 11, Irina appears with tea and sandwiches I requested but can't eat. "He'll be fine," she says, maternal warmth breaking through her usual professional distance. "I've worked for Mr. Russo for 8 years. I've seen him go on dozens of operations. He always comes home." There's always a first time for things to go wrong. Yes, but not tonight. She arranges the tea service with practiced care. Tonight he has something worth surviving for. That makes him more dangerous than he's ever been. After she leaves, I change into comfortable clothes jeans, a soft sweater, boots that I can run in if necessary. I'm not planning to run, but preparation feels better than helplessness. At 11:30, Dominic appears at my door one last time. He's dressed in all black tactical gear that makes him look like he's going to war, which I suppose he is. "Last chance to talk me out of this," he says, attempting lightness that doesn't reach his eyes. "Would it work?" "No. Then I won't waste our time." I cross to him, wrap my arms around his waist, hold on tight. "Be smart, be careful, come home." "I love you." He kisses the top of my head. "Whatever happens tonight, I need you to know that us, it's the best thing that's happened to me in a very long time. Don't say goodbye, that's bad luck. Then I'll see you soon. One more kiss, deep and desperate. Lock the door. Remember the panic button. Trust no one except Franco if something goes wrong. Dominic, but he's already gone. Footsteps fading down the hallway, and I'm left alone with the tea growing cold and fear sitting like lead in my stomach. I lock the door, settle onto the bed with my phone showing Franco's number in case I need it. And I wait. Midnight comes and goes. No word. I tell myself that's good. Silence means things are going according to plan. 12:30. Still nothing. My hands shake when I check my phone for the 100th time. 1 a.m. I'm pacing now, unable to sit still, wearing a path in the carpet between the bed and the windows. At 1:17, my phone rings. Unknown number. My heart stops. Hello? Mrs. Russo, it's Franco. His voice is tight with something I can't identify. I need you to stay calm. What happened? I can barely get the words out. Is he? He's alive. Injured but alive. There was an ambush. Someone tipped off Castellano. We walked into a trap. The room spins. I grip the edge of the bed to keep from falling. How bad? Gunshot wound to the shoulder. He's lost blood, but he's conscious, mobile. We're extracting now. He'll be home within the hour. What about the operation? Mixed results. Got 3 out of 5 targets. Castellano escaped. We have casualties. Franco's voice hardens. Someone betrayed us. Someone inside the organization. Constantine is handling it. Thank you for calling, for telling me. Dominic made me promise. Said if anything went wrong, you'd need to hear it from someone who wouldn't lie to protect you from the truth. A pause. He was talking about you during the firefight. Kept saying he promised to come home. That's what kept him moving when he should have gone down. Tears burn my eyes. Just get him here safely, please. Working on it. Stay where you are. Don't open the door until you hear his voice. The call ends. I sink onto the bed, phone clutched in shaking hands. Alive. He's alive. Injured, but alive. The next 45 minutes are the longest of my life. I hear vehicles arriving, shouts in Russian, footsteps running through corridors. Every sound makes me tense, wondering if it's Dominic or something worse. Then finally a knock at my door. Vera, it's me, let me in. I have the door open before he finishes speaking. Dominic stands there, Victor supporting him on one side, his black tactical gear torn and soaked with blood. His left arm hangs useless, makeshift bandaging visible through the ripped fabric. But he's standing. He's here. I'm okay, he says before I can ask. Looks worse than it is. Bullet went through clean. You're bleeding everywhere. Flesh wound. I've had worse. He tries to smile and I can see the effort it costs him. Can we come in? Dr. Caruso is on his way, but I want to clean up first. Victor helps him inside, settles him into a chair. Blood drips onto my floor, staining the carpet, and I don't care at all. What do you need? I ask, already moving toward the bathroom. Water? Towels? Should I call? Just you. I need you. Dominic catches my hand with his good one. Victor, give us a minute. Sir, you're still bleeding. I know, 1 minute, please. Victor leaves reluctantly, and suddenly we're alone. Dominic pulls me onto his lap, mindful of his injured shoulder, and buries his face in my hair. I kept my promise, he murmurs. Told you I'd come home. You did. You're here. I'm crying now, can't stop the tears. You scared me. Franco called and said there was an ambush and you were shot and... Shh, I'm okay. We're okay. He kisses my temple. Though you were right, I couldn't promise it. We walked into a trap. Someone in the organization sold us out to Castellano. If Franco hadn't spotted the setup early, if we hadn't adapted on the fly, this would have ended very differently. How many casualties? 3 of ours dead, 5 injured including me. Castellano's people lost more, but he escaped. The operation was only partially successful. Constantine is furious. He winces as he shifts position. And now we have a traitor to hunt. Someone high enough to know the full plan. A knock interrupts us. Victor's voice through the door. Dr. Caruso is here. The next hour is a blur of medical attention. Dr. Caruso confirms the bullet went through cleanly, no bone damage, no arterial bleeding. He stitches, bandages, administers antibiotics, and leaves Dominic with strict orders to rest. By 3 a.m., we're finally alone. Dominic is shirtless, left shoulder wrapped in pristine white bandaging that's already showing spots of blood seeping through. He should be in bed. Instead, he's standing at the window, staring out at the estate grounds. "We lost good people tonight," he says quietly. "People with families. People I recruited, trained, trusted. They're dead because I led them into an ambush." I cross to him, wrap my arms around him from behind, careful of his injury. "It's not your fault. The traitor is responsible, not you. I should have seen it coming. Should have questioned when the intelligence was too good, too convenient. Should have—" "Stop. You can't carry everyone's survival on your shoulders." I press my cheek against his back. "You brought 8 people into an ambush and 6 came home. That's not failure. That's you adapting under fire and saving lives. Tell that to the families of the ones who didn't make it. Constantine will handle that. Financially, if nothing else. Right now, you need to rest. Heal. Let yourself be human for 5 minutes." He turns in my arms, and the vulnerability in his face breaks my heart. "I don't know how to do this. Be the man who kills for territory, and also the man who comes home to you. Hold those 2 things simultaneously without losing myself. Then don't hold them simultaneously. When you're with me, be with me. The killing, the violence, the organization, leave it outside this room. In here, you're just Dominic, the man I love, the man who kept his promise to come home." "Just Dominic," he tests the words. "I'm not sure I know who that is anymore. Then we'll figure it out together." I guide him toward the bed. "Come on, you need sleep. We both do." He lets me help him into bed, settle beside him with my head on his good shoulder. His arm comes around me, holds me close. "I love you," he murmurs, already half asleep from exhaustion and pain medication. My fierce, adaptable, impossibly strong wife. "I love you too, my dangerous, protective, occasionally idiotic husband." He laughs softly, and the sound is the best thing I've heard all night. We fall asleep tangled together, and despite the blood, despite the violence, despite everything this night has been, I feel safe, protected, home. Morning brings chaos. Constantine summons all senior members to an emergency meeting. Dominic goes, despite my protests, arm in a sling, jaw set with determination that won't bend. I spend the day in the library, processing everything. 3 people dead. The operation partially failed. Castellano's still out there. A traitor in the organization who needs to be found and eliminated. And through it all, Dominic and I emerged somehow stronger. Bound by more than obligation now. Actually partners, actually in love, actually building something real within impossible circumstances. Elena finds me in the afternoon, brings news I didn't ask for but needed to hear. "They found the traitor," she says without preamble. "Mikhail. He'd been feeding information to Castellano for months. Constantine is handling it personally." Mikhail. The man who questioned me at that first dinner, who challenged Dominic, who looked at me with disdain. He'd been working for the enemy all along. What will happen to him? What always happens to traitors? Her expression is grim. By tomorrow, he'll be a warning to anyone else considering betrayal. I should feel something. Horror, maybe. Disgust at how casually violence is dispensed. Instead, I feel only cold satisfaction. Mikhail betrayed Dominic, got 3 people killed, nearly got my husband killed. Whatever Constantine does to him, he earned it. "You're really one of us now," Elena observes. "That look on your face, that's not horror, that's approval." "He tried to kill my husband." "Yes, and you want him to pay for it." "Welcome to the family, Vera. You've officially completed your transformation." She's right. Somewhere between the wedding and now, I've stopped being a victim forced into this world. I've become an active participant. Someone who approves of violence when it protects what's mine. Someone who loves a killer and doesn't apologize for it. That evening, I find Dominic in his office. He's reviewing reports one-handed, his injured shoulder making everything harder but not stopping him. "You should be resting," I say, echoing my words from yesterday morning. "So should you, but we're both too wound up to rest." He sets down the papers. "Come here." I cross to him. Let him pull me onto his lap. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, just being together. "Konstantin found the traitor," he says finally. "Mikhail. He's being handled as we speak." "I heard, Elena told me." "And how do you feel about that?" I consider lying, pretending I'm horrified by mob justice. But I'm done lying to him, to myself, to anyone. "I hope he suffers," I say honestly. "I hope Konstantin makes it last. I hope he regrets every moment he spent betraying you." Dominic's grip tightens on my waist. "You've changed. From the woman who stood in that cathedral covered in someone else's blood looking terrified." I'm still terrified. But now I'm terrified of losing you instead of being trapped here. I turn to face him fully. "I've adapted, just like you said I would. Learned to swim in dark waters, become complicit in violence, and I'm not sure if that makes me strong or broken." "It makes you a survivor, my survivor." He kisses me gently, and I'm grateful for it every single day. Even when it means I approve of torture and murder. Especially then, because it means you understand what it takes to exist in this world, what I have to do to keep us safe. His hand cups my face. "I won't apologize for being what I am, Vera. And I won't ask you to pretend you're something you're not anymore. We're both exactly who we need to be. Monsters who love each other. Partners who've chosen each other despite every reason not to." He corrects me. That's better than most people get. He's right. In this impossible situation, we've found something real, something worth fighting for, worth surviving for, worth becoming different people for. "So what happens now?" I ask. "Castellano is still out there. The operation didn't fully succeed. What's next?" "Now we hunt him properly. No more partial measures. Konstantin's authorized a full elimination order. Every resource, every connection, everything we have goes toward finding and killing Antonio Castellano." His eyes are hard, cold, the killer showing through. "He made this personal when he ordered that hit on you. Now he pays for it." "How long will that take?" "Days, maybe weeks, but it will happen. He's a dead man walking. He just doesn't know it yet." I should probably be disturbed by how calmly he discusses hunting and killing another human being. Instead, I feel only relief that the threat will be eliminated. And after? When Castellano is dead and the territory is secured? Then we live. Build whatever life we can within these walls. Maybe negotiate more freedoms for you. Maybe travel, carefully, with security. Maybe just exist together without constant crisis. He brushes hair from my face. Maybe we have a real marriage instead of just performing one. We already have a real marriage. Then maybe we make it even better. His smile is soft, genuine, the expression I see only when we're alone. I love you, Vera Russo. All versions of you. The one who studied art history. The one who adapted to survive. And the one who approves of violence when it protects what's hers. All of you. All of... I love you too. The enforcer, the killer, and the man who comes home to me. All of you. We kiss. And it tastes like promise. Like future. Like whatever darkness we've walked through to get here was worth it for this moment. Outside these walls, violence continues. Castellano is being hunted. Mikhail is paying for his betrayal. The organization moves forward with brutal efficiency. But in here, in this room, we're just two people who found each other in impossible circumstances and decided to stay. That's enough. It has to be enough. And somehow, impossibly, it is. Epilogue 6 months later. The gallery opening is everything I once dreamed of hosting. Soft lighting illuminates Renaissance reproductions I spent 3 months curating. Champagne flows. Well-dressed patrons murmur appreciatively about brushwork and composition. Classical music drifts through the space like a benediction, and at my side, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, stands my husband. Not my captor. Not my obligation. My husband, my partner, my choice. Dominic's hand rests at the small of my back. The gesture so natural now, I barely register it. But I notice the way his eyes constantly scan the room, cataloging faces, assessing threats. Old habits die hard. The security detail positioned at every exit is invisible to most people here, but I see them. I always see them now. You did well, he murmurs against my ear. This is impressive. Constantine's money helped. I sip champagne, watch a woman in Prada examine a reproduction of Botticelli's Primavera. Hard to fail when you have unlimited funding. Money buys space and art. It doesn't buy taste or knowledge. That's all you. His thumb traces circles on my hip. I'm proud of you. The words settle warm in my chest. 6 months ago, I couldn't have imagined this. Standing in a gallery I manage, hosting an exhibition I designed, married to a man I actually love instead of simply survive. 6 months ago, I was drowning. Now I'm swimming. Not in clear water, never that, but swimming nonetheless. Elena appears through the crowd, stunning in emerald green, Constantine at her side looking every inch the distinguished patron of the arts. No one here knows what he really is, what empire he built, what violence maintains his wealth. They see only a generous donor who made this gallery possible. Vera, darling. Elena kisses both my cheeks. It's magnificent. You have actual talent for this. She does. Constantine examines a reproduction of Caravaggio's The Taking of Christ with genuine interest. I knew investing in this project was wise. When can we start discussing permanent exhibitions? After tonight's success is confirmed. I've learned to negotiate with Constantine, to find the balance between gratitude and boundaries. Let's see if this model works before expanding. Smart girl, he approves, always testing before committing. Dominic, your wife has good instincts for business. She has good instincts for everything. Dominic's hand tightens possessively on my waist, which is why I trust her judgment. They drift away to examine other pieces, and I exhale slowly. 6 months, and I still feel performance anxiety around Constantine. Probably always will. Some fears are too fundamental to fully shed. You're doing great. Dominic reads my tension like always. Another hour, then we can leave. I have something to show you. What kind of something? The kind that requires privacy and very little clothing. His smile is wicked. But first, finish playing successful gallery curator. You've earned this. The next hour passes in a blur of congratulations and genuine interest from people who appreciate art without knowing my story. To them, I'm Vera Russo, young curator with impeccable taste and wealthy backers. They don't know about the blood-stained wedding dress, the car chases, the night I held Dominic while he bled from a gunshot wound. They don't need to know. That's not this version of me. At 10 o'clock, we slip away. The gallery manager I hired, a competent woman named Sarah who has no idea she works for the mob, will handle closing. Tomorrow we'll review sales figures and attendance numbers. Tonight, I'm done performing. The drive home is quiet. Victor drives. Another guard I don't recognize sits passenger seat, and Dominic and I occupy the back in comfortable silence. His hand finds mine, laces our fingers together. Castellano's dead, he says quietly. Got confirmation an hour ago. Franco found him in Miami. It's over. My heart skips. Over. The territory is secured. The threat is eliminated. We can breathe. He lifts my hand, kisses my knuckles. You can breathe. 6 months of looking over my shoulder. 6 months of elevated security and constant vigilance. And just like that, it's over. The man who tried to have me kidnapped, who walked Dominic into an ambush, who killed 3 of our people, he's dead. I should feel relief. Instead, I feel nothing. Just a cold acknowledgement that a problem has been solved through violence. That's adaptation, too. The numbness that comes from accepting death as a tool. How did Franco do it? I ask. Quick, professional. Castellano never saw it coming. Dominic studies my face. Does it bother you that I'm telling you this? No, I want to know. Need to know. I squeeze his hand. I'm done pretending I'm separate from your world. I'm in it. Might as well be informed. My fierce wife. He pulls me against him and I settle into the familiar warmth. What did I do to deserve you? Married me when I had no choice, then gave me reasons to stay when I did. Fair enough. We reach the estate, and for the first time in months, I don't feel the walls as a cage. They're protection, shelter, home. Dominic leads me through corridors I know by heart now, but instead of going to our rooms, we share one room now, have for 4 months. He takes me to the library. Candles everywhere, rose petals scattered across the floor, and in the center, a velvet box sitting on the table where I've spent countless hours reading. What is this? My voice comes out breathless. This is me doing something I should have done months ago. He opens the box, reveals a ring that makes my engagement ring look modest. Diamonds and sapphires arranged in an intricate pattern that looks Renaissance-inspired. When we got married, it was obligation, contract, survival. I want to ask you properly, as the woman you've become, as my actual partner instead of my assignment. He drops to one knee and my heart stops. Vera Dmitrievna Russo, will you marry me again? This time by choice? This time as partners who've chosen each other despite every reason not to? This time as two people who've survived darkness together and built something real in the rubble? Tears blur my vision. We're already married. Legally, yes. But I want to marry you again. Properly. With vows we actually mean. With your brother present. With no blood on your dress and no obligation forcing your hand. He takes my left hand, and I realize he's shaking slightly. Dominic Russo, cold-blooded enforcer, is nervous. I want to marry you for real, so will you? Yes, the word breaks free on a sob. Yes, of course, yes. He slides the new ring onto my finger above the engagement ring I've worn for 7 months. It fits perfectly. Of course it does. He's meticulous about everything that matters to him. And I matter to him. Impossibly, undeniably I matter. He stands, pulls me into a kiss that tastes like champagne and promise and the future we're building one careful day at a time. When we break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. I love you, he says. More than I thought I could love anything. More than territory or power or the organization. You're what I come home for. What I fight for. What makes all the darkness worth wading through. I love you too. I grip his shirt, hold him close. My dangerous, complicated, impossibly devoted husband. I choose you. Every day. I choose you. We make love right there in the library, surrounded by books and candlelight and rose petals. It's romantic and impractical and perfect. After, lying tangled together on the floor, I trace the scar on his shoulder where the bullet went through 6 months ago. Does it still hurt? Sometimes, when it rains, when I'm tired. He catches my hand, kisses my palm. Small price for coming home to you. We should probably move to actual furniture. This floor is not comfortable. 5 more minutes. I like you here, surrounded by all your books, in your space. I settle against him, let contentment wash over me. This is happiness. Strange, complicated, built on a foundation of violence and adaptation, but happiness nonetheless. Tell me about the new ceremony, I say. When? Where? What are you planning? Spring. Maybe April. Small ceremony. Just family and close friends. Your brother flies in from Berkeley. We do it properly this time. Vows we write ourselves. No blood, no obligations. Just us choosing each other. He plays with my hair absently. Unless you want something bigger, we can do whatever you want. Small sounds perfect. Just the people who matter. I think about Thomas, about finally being able to tell him the truth. That this started as obligation but became real. That I'm happy, despite everything. That he can stop worrying. Will your mother be there? She's already planning it. Has been since I told her my intentions last week. Apparently she approves of you. Says you're the only woman who's ever made me human. You've always been human, just armored. And you found the cracks in the armor, crawled inside, made yourself irreplaceable. He shifts so we're face to face. I don't know who I'd be without you anymore. Don't want to know. Good, because you're stuck with me now. Actual choice this time, remember? Best choice I've ever made. We eventually move to the actual bed, shower away rose petals and candle wax, and settle into the comfortable routine we've built. He checks security reports on his phone while I read. Normal married couple things, if you ignore that the security reports involve weapons counts and guard rotations. At midnight, he sets aside the phone and pulls me close. Thank you, he says quietly. For staying. For adapting. For becoming my partner instead of just my obligation. For choosing this despite how much easier walking away would have been. Walking away was never really an option. It was. You just didn't take it. His hand finds my face in the darkness. Every day you stay is a choice. Every morning you wake up beside me instead of planning escape routes. Every time you defend this life to your brother or friends. Those are choices. And I'm grateful for every single one. Then you're welcome. I kiss him softly. But Dominic? I'm grateful too, for making this bearable, for giving me the gallery, for loving me enough to want a real marriage instead of just the arrangement, for being more than just the monster everyone warned me about. I'm still a monster, just one who's learned to be human for you. Then I'm the woman who loves monsters. We can both live with that. We fall asleep tangled together, and for the first time since this nightmare began 7 months ago, I don't dream of blood, or captivity, or fear. I dream of spring weddings and galleries filled with art, and a future that's ours to build however we want, within the constraints of this world. It's not the life I planned when I walked across that graduation stage with my art history degree, but it's the life I have. The life I've chosen. The life I'm learning to love one complicated day at a time. 3 months later, April. The ceremony is everything the first one wasn't. Intimate, joyful, real. We marry in the estate gardens under cherry blossoms that drift like snow. Thomas walks me down the aisle this time, and when he places my hand in Dominic's, there are tears in his eyes. Take care of her, he says. She's all I have. I will, always, Dominic promises, and I know he means it. The vows we wrote together are simple, honest, acknowledging what we've survived and what we're building. I choose you, I say, voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm me. Not because I have to, but because in all the darkness, you became my light, my shelter, my home. I choose you every day, and I'll keep choosing you for as long as we have. I choose you, Dominic echoes. You saw the worst of me and stayed anyway. You adapted when you could have broken. You gave me reasons to come home when survival used to be enough. I choose you. Today. Tomorrow. Always. When we kiss, it tastes like new beginnings, like second chances, like the future we're claiming despite everyone who said it was impossible. The reception is small. Elena and Constantine. Franco and a few close associates. Thomas and a handful of people I've come to trust. Dominic's mother, who cries through the entire ceremony despite insisting she never cries. We dance under string lights while music plays and champagne flows, and everyone pretends this is a normal wedding for a normal couple. And maybe in its own twisted way it is. Later, when everyone has left and we're finally alone, Dominic pulls me close on the terrace where we've shared so many quiet moments. Any regrets? He asks. About any of this? I think about the terrified girl who stood in a cathedral 7 months ago, covered in blood, thinking her life was over. About how that girl fought and adapted and survived until she became someone stronger. Someone who could love a killer and build a gallery and exist in darkness without losing herself completely. No regrets, I say honestly. It's not the life I would have chosen, but it's the life I have, and it's enough. It's more than enough. He kisses me as cherry blossoms fall around us like blessings. It's everything. And standing there in his arms, surrounded by beauty built on a foundation of violence, I realize he's right. This dangerous, complicated, impossible love we've built, it's everything. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. The end.